you think about that fucking interview Omar did?
Omar's a rock star.
Dude, that was a pretty good interview.
It was an
right?
excellent interview.
But I mean,
you carried it. I was just
Omar
the window
carried
dressing.
It,
he carried
Omar,
it.
Look, you can't get that kind of interview without the interview.
That's true. That's right.
I can't do a good interview. I'm terrible.
I think you're great, but he did ask great questions. Omar asked unbelievable questions, and your answers were awesome.
Yeah, and what'd you think about the setting and everything here, man?
Beautiful, brother.
You
look at
look
this.
good,
Are you
don't
kidding
you?
me? I do. In this light, I look pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have any regrets about the interview?
Probably.
Yeah.
I always do. Don't you? A little bit?
So look,
Yeah.
you guys ever get a chance to do an interview with that cat?
You should do
it's
it.
worth doing.
100%.
Okay,
He's
a good
unbelievable.
dude.
It's true.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of The Passionate Few. It's your host, Omar Elattar here, and today I'm super excited because we have an episode unlike ever before where we sit down with not only one legend, but two legends, and that is Grant Cardone and Ed Mylett. You guys might know them as Mr. 10X and Mr. Max Out themselves. And in this interview, we get into a whole range of topics ranging from not just their story, which we've had in prior interviews, but also some of the things that make them tick. Things like their mindset, business, philosophies on money, relationships, and everything in between, including some things they've never shared before anywhere else. So I want to encourage you guys to really sit back, relax, and enjoy this powerful interview that was once a dream in my head that has now become a reality overlooking the Hollywood Hills over wine and cigars. And also, I want to let you guys know, if you guys want to create your own epic interviews, be sure to check out my very free ebook in the description below, where I teach you how you can do the same, as well as join my free Facebook group community so that you too can create your own epic interview show wherever in the world you live, if this content is something that you like to create in your own world. So with no further ado, I want to encourage you guys to sit back, relax, and enjoy the powerful interview with Grant Cardone and Ed Mylett. Enjoy. Thanks for being on the show today, Ed Mylett and Grant Cardone.
Thank you, man.
Great to be with you guys.
Absolutely, my man. My men, actually. So a lot of people wrote in about this episode. They were excited to have you guys both on. First question, whose jet's faster?
His is faster. His is actually faster. We were talking about actually I tell him this, we were talking about having a race at 50,000 feet. Seriously, one of the first plane races at 50,000 feet. This is a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I called my pilot. I said, hey, Cardone wants to race in these jets. How are we going to do? He goes, I don't think we want to do that right now. So evidently his is faster.
What airplanes are you guys on right now?
I'm on a Gulfstream 550.
550?
I'm on a Falcon 900.
He's got three engines, though. He reminds me all the time. He's like, I got three engines, you got two.
His
And so we go into this, basically it's it's the old, whose dick's bigger.
Yeah,
macho.
He has Rolls Royce engines in his airplane. So
well, he says, I got three engines and you got two. I said, I only need two.
When you're over water, you'd rather have three, just so you know. But his is
Mine
faster.
can fly with one engine now.
So can mine.
Okay.
Yeah. But yours is faster.
So the next question is, and this is kind of more relating to something that a lot of people deal with. A lot of people look up to you guys, not just in sales, but in business, life advice. So I want to get into, how do you guys manage to balance everything you guys are doing, as well as have a family life, enjoy your life? Because there's a lot of people out there that are working their ass off and they're just not getting anywhere. So what have you guys found is your thing that kind of allows you to balance the two? Like what's the groove you figured out along the way to at least make the best of balancing the two of life and business?
Well, for me, to be honest with you, I don't have balance. I mean, I don't seek it, and nor do I have it, to be candid with you. I mean, at any given time, there's certain areas of my life that are spiking compared to other ones, and I think just the people around me know that there's going to be times where I'm going to have an abundance of time with my family. There's going to be times where, I'm just going nuts with work or whatever it is in my life. So I don't really have balance. I don't seek it. I think balance is boring. And I think people that have a ton of balance probably aren't achieving a whole lot or accomplishing a lot or loving a lot. Like, I like a little drama. I like a little intensity. I like stress. And so I'm not even really after that. So I think people that are seeking that are seeking something, at least for me, I don't know how GC feels about it, but for me, it's not something I want, nor do I know that perfect balance exists for anybody. I mean, I think you're probably pretty balanced when you're dead. But, when I'm living and I'm alive, there's just different areas of my life at any given time that demand more of my time or that I'm demanding more of my time in. And so, at least for me, I don't have it.
Have you tried to, like in your career, tried to have it and then figured, forget this, it's not working? Or
it's not that I'm not aware when I need to invest time in something that I haven't been. It's not that I'm not aware of that. It's just I'm not under the illusion that I'm going to get to a perfect balanced state.
Gotcha.
Because I've lived long enough in I guess what you'd probably call some kind of controlled chaos. I enjoy variety. I like uncertainty. I like not everything being the same every single day. I get asked a lot about routines and things like that. I'm very regimented, very routine person, yet I hope there's different things in my day, different variables, different things every single day. So I think if someone's seeking balance, they're probably chasing the wrong thing, at least for me. That's not what I want. I don't want to be bored. I don't want to know what every day is going to be like. And I like that life calls me to different places and it demands me to be great in one place over another at any given time. So I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, very similar that I'm not, I think it's an illusion, a little bit of an illusion that somebody that's seeking balance is probably struggling in an area, maybe not winning in it. And it kind of goes along this whole theme about when do you burn out, people struggling with burnout. I've been told by numerous people I'm going to burn out. I've been told that since I was 26 years old. You're going to burn out. And here I am, 34 years later, I hadn't burned out. I have more energy today than I had when I was 26. I'm not a candle. I'm a spiritual being. A spiritual being in their perfect condition would not be interested in a balance. It would be unnecessary. So,
like nature, it's in a state of flow almost.
the spirit itself would be able to move into any space at any time without any gimmicks, without any preparation, and be able to assist in the next emergency. I see first responders, these heroes that jump into situations. They didn't know there was going to be a fire. They didn't know there was going to be a 9/11. They didn't know that a kid was going to be trapped in a car. They move into an event to save a situation. And that's what I hear Ed saying. Like, he moves into whatever needs to move in, very, very much like a liquid would, mercurial, to be mobile, to be able to move into different things. This is why financial freedom is so important for people. And it's why cash flow is so important, so that people can move to their parents and help them, move to a kid in their community that needs help. And that's why I push that money message so much, because when you have enough money, balance is not what you're seeking. Contribution and charity.
That's 100%. So,
yeah.
I talk about maxing out all the time. Just the concept of I have to have balance. Really what the embedded message in there is like, so I have to shortchange one area so that I can do something in another area,
Push
right?
further,
As if something has to be sacrificed for the betterment of another area. And that's somebody who's coming from a place of lack, who thinks that there's limitations in different areas of life. And so I completely agree with you. And especially when you come from a place, I love that you said that, man. Like, you come from a place of contribution. That's not an area at any time I want any balance in. I want to see how far I can max it, how many people I can help, how many people I can reach, how many people I can serve. We're doing this on a Sunday night. Mm-hmm. I worked all weekend. He spoke yesterday at an event, right?
Had another event today.
Another one right before this thing, right? And we'll both be cranking tomorrow too. So I hope tomorrow's
on the
not
Lord's
balanced.
Day, by the way. I'm working on the Lord's Day.
Yeah.
So you like I see a lot of people confuse that message too. Like, God took, this is the day you're supposed to take off. And I'm like, yeah, but you kind of dropped out all the contribution he did before he took a day off. And there were 6 days of a tremendous amounts to create, like endless amounts, from butterflies to mountaintops to lakes to oceans to man and animals and everything, right? And then he's like, I think I'm good now. I'm gonna take a day off.
Yeah,
but after he did all that.
Yeah, and by the way, neither one of us, I think it's important for people to know this too. Like, we're not just talking about work.
Right.
I mean, I was at church this morning. I was at breakfast with my kids this morning. So it's not that, that lack of balance means you're just this crazy working person. I don't really separate my work life from my family life, from other parts of my life. I hope that even today, like, to some extent, that people sense a goodness about us. They want to be better. That's giving in my spiritual life, right? And we're going to give some tips on money. So now I'm in my business mode. We'll talk family. I've already mentioned my children in the first 10 minutes. So all those areas are all one to me. Like, life is one thing, right? And so it's not one area I'm in necessarily.
Segment and try to balance. And
at any given time. Just before we went on camera, little Scarlett was talking about college with Grant, right? And he's, I'm not going to college. That's okay, baby. And did you go? So it's all one thing all the time. Earlier when we were over here talking about different things, Grant said, you listen to Eddie. And when I was talking about different business things. And so that was family time and business time. So was that balance? Probably, but they're not one area over the other.
Gotcha. Oh, it makes total sense. So the next question that someone asked is, What's the worst piece of advice you've ever gotten in your career, and what's the best piece of advice that you're glad someone told you early on in your career? Both of you guys. So best and worst piece of advice you've ever
Worst
received.
piece of advice I was ever given
Yes.
was bigger's not better. A guy busted out. Okay, you got to know the source of the information and where that individual is coming from. He had some losses. He tried to scale big, and he got spanked, and had to file bankruptcy. So when I was starting to scale my thing up, he's like, Grant, remember, bigger's not better.
Got a chip on his shoulder kind of thing.
Well, that was his. When a person has a loss, what they do is they try to figure out, why did I have that loss? So now everybody does it. Every race does it. Every religion does. Every person does it. I had a loss, and you're going to go into calculation. Why did I have that? Oh, I went big too fast. Typically, the vacuum is filled up with the wrong data. So the calculation for him was, I went big. No, you went big and quit. Because Walt Disney went big, got spanked, went big again, got spanked, went big again, whoosh, created Disneyland. So worst piece of advice I was ever given was go big. Best piece was my mother saying, hey, the best investment you will ever make is in yourself. Uneducated, 4'11", little Sicilian woman. She's like, Grant, the best investment you will ever make is in you.
How old were you at that time?
I had to be 25, 26 years old.
And you, when you heard it first, you kind of internalized it, or you kind of like brushed it off and then internalized it later?
Yeah, probably. No, it hit me. Like truth, when truth hits you.
Gosh, that's true.
When truth hits you, it hits. I had a guy the other day ask me for some advice. Okay, these people that ask for advice. I know you know them.
Yeah.
You give it to them and they don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He knew it was true. It hit him. He's like, I know that's right. And then he went and did something different. And this is a big mistake people make, man. The best things that have happened to me did not require any more thought. The best decisions I've made in my life were instant. So like my wife and I, like when I decide to buy something, I go buy it. I don't check with her because that adds thought. It adds time. And this is another bad piece of advice I was given. Like, take time. Think about it. Don't move too fast. Take baby steps. You don't know, nobody on this planet ever took baby steps. They went fast. And the faster you can go, my plane is safest when it's up in the air. When it's landing, slowing down, it's in trouble. When it's taking off, it's at risk.
That's interesting. At flight, at full speed, it's almost the safest.
Dude, that thing wants to fly, and people are being conditioned to slow down, think about it, take your time, take a drug. I was put on lithium when I was 29 years old because the psychologist thought I needed to slow down. She was scared of speed. I wasn't.
And at that time, were you doing well financially?
Yeah,
or?
I was doing great, but everybody was saying, hey, you're doing too much of this and you're doing too much of that and you're going to burn and you're going to do this. And people were worried about me around me that were going slow. I was vibrating faster than they were. But a hummingbird vibrates. Bumblebees vibrate, right? They do things that are impossible. So you don't want to slow down and you want to move with speed and certainty. That means people need to know what they're doing. If I know what I'm doing, that's why confident people, Tiger won today.
Tiger won today.
He's been fighting, man, been efforting. 10 years he hadn't had a win. He won today. That guy moves with speed and certainty. Winners move with speed and certainty because they practice, they train, they educate.
Has that ever burned you, though? I'm sure early on in your career when you started applying
Do I
that.
look like I'm burning, man?
Now, nah.
No,
when
I burn, it's when I'm doing stuff that's not in line with what my purpose is. When I'm tired, when I'm exhausted, when I'm doing stuff that's just not making, it's not feeding where I'm going, where I'm supposed to go as a being.
Where the juice ain't worth the squeeze almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotcha. How about you, Ed?
Ironically, my good advice was identical from my dad, about the same age. That's really incredible, man. And it's, you just said something, I just want to acknowledge it. Like when he said to me, my dad said to me, the best investment you're ever going to make is going to be in yourself. And right when he said it, I knew it was true. I didn't debate it. I knew he was right. My dad's my best friend to this day. He's in his 70s now, and he still tells me that. He'll still remind me of that to this day. I'm 47 years old, had a little bit of, some beginnings of some success in my life, and my dad still will remind me of that one lesson. And so I'll tell you the other thing too. Most of the best advice that I've been given was solicited. too, not unsolicited. And so I get a lot of bad unsolicited advice from people when they're projecting onto me their own insecurities, their own limitations, their own weaknesses.
Right.
And the reason that that's important for everybody to know is that when I ask for advice, I ask it from a place of certainty and expectation I'm going to win. I find a lot of people ask me for advice from a place of doubt, almost to validate their doubt. Like, if you could answer this correctly, then I wouldn't have such doubt that I'm not going to win.
Gotcha.
And I watch the advice that I'm asked. Man, when you ask advice from a place of, look, I'm going to win, I'm asking you advice of how to execute this, how to properly get there. That's a powerful dynamic that when you have that with somebody. But when you're constantly asking from advice from a place of doubt and discouragement all the time, which is when most people ask for advice,
right,
they're in that state, you end up being very limited in the answer. The worst advice, I've been given a ton of bad advice. And I'll tell you, and when I've taken it, here's the mistake I've made. It's taken advice from people who aren't successful in the area you're asking the advice in. In other words, it's just because someone's really successful financially doesn't mean you should be taking advice on how to get in shape. Or if someone's really great in their family, they're a wonderful parent, right? Or great in their faith, doesn't mean you should be taking advice on how to get successful in business. And I watch people all the time get their dreams stolen, their vision stolen, their hope stolen, because they solicit advice from somebody who's not successful in that area. And so I've learned, if I were at a gym and I were gonna have a trainer, I don't understand trainers who aren't super fit. Like, why would I let you train me on how to get in great shape?
Right, yeah.
And you're not even in shape yourself. You're not even a walking, living embodiment or example of this stuff. So how are you going to transfer to me something that you're not experiencing yourself? That's impossible. You can't transfer to me something that you are not experiencing yourself. Yet people take advice all the time for people who aren't even experiencing success in that area. In business, why would you take lifetime business advice from someone who's not even successful in that endeavor themselves, but people do it all the time.
Or that sounds good and doesn't have a business.
Doesn't even have a
like
business.
Me and him we have this conversation all the time about,
right.
And no offense to, I got buddies that figured out how to run a business with one person, but that's not a business.
Not a business.
Nobody's going to buy it.
Right.
It has no value. It produces money, might be a lifestyle, but that's not a business. So again, what Ed's saying is you got to look, people need to study the source of the data they're getting, particularly now, today with data can come everywhere. Like, people have too many mentors today.
Yes.
I need a mentor. No, but bro, you need to get rid of mentors. Everyone is a mentor.
Right.
You're getting advice from your brother, your cousin, the tabloids. Like, what data is real and what's not? Most of the data is wrong because it's not coming from a source of experience, and that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I think that's also true, and I don't mean this with any disrespect to anybody, but social media's got a lot of great strengths.
Right.
One of the real weaknesses is that you're really getting advice often from people who sound really good on their 19th take on the video they've made.
Right, right.
But if you were to look behind the scenes, what kind of a company do they run? What kind of a life do they have? What kind of net worth do they have? And you got to be really careful. I mean, they may sound good, you may like them, their videos may be really appealing, but what have they actually produced outside of telling you how to do something that they have not done themselves? And so he's exactly right about too many mentors. There's too much information that causes people to hesitate. I also want to acknowledge the other thing he said, speed's important and so is certainty. Look, I've made a whole bunch of mediocre decisions that I've executed with intensity and passion and made them win. There's no perfect decision. In fact, an imperfect decision made with speed and complete certainty. You think about in a football game, not every play that's called is perfectly called, but it's the way you execute the play with certainty that matters. Not every play call is right. People think, well, the Patriots are the best team in the world because their play calling is just incredible. Nah, I will tell you that the play calling is pretty good. It's the way they execute that play. Even in a bad play call, they find a way to win. And that's what I meant earlier about advice. You got to know you're going to win, know you're going to score, and then ask for advice from that place from a credible source. So those are my two.
No, it makes total sense. Now, focusing on money, which I know, Grant, that's a particular topic you love. What would be your best advice to people out there, whether they're entrepreneurs, whether they have a sales team, they're building an organization? What would you say is the best advice that you could give other people from what you learned about making their first $1 million bucks? So say somebody's making 6 figures, scaling up, and that's
Just
the goal.
do the math. You know, what's first of all, do you want to make $1 million or do you want to keep $1 million? They're like 60% difference between those two questions.
Right, so specificity in the goal.
Do you want to make? Everybody watching is going to make $1 million. I mean, if you live 25 years, you're going to make $1 million. 25 times $40,000, bang, you made $1 million. If that's your goal. So this is what I talked about in the 10X rule. The goals people are setting are incorrect. And that's why people give up on their goals. Because I know so many guys that hit $1 million. like I've had so many people come to me and say, I hit $1 million and I lost the juice.
Yeah, it got comfortable almost, yeah.
A lot of guys in network marketing tell me this. Like I was in network marketing, I became $1 million producer, just lost it because the goal was wrong. The goal was wrong. First of all, it wasn't your goal. Like, anybody that's got $1 million target, it's not your goal. You adopted this goal, this idea from somebody else. Because any number that ends in 0 is a lazy number. The chances of number ending in 0 is almost mathematically
What a great
impossible.
point. What a great point.
So it's a lazy concept. You just adopted somebody else's idea. I want to be a millionaire. Have you even done the math? Do the math on $1 million. It's no money. This is what people like. They God, hate Grant because your target was $1 million. You're struggling making 200. You think $1 million's impossible. You don't want me to tell you the truth. And the truth is, it is no money. As soon as you get it, I read the book, The Millionaire Next Door. Almost everybody read that book back in the 90s. It was the best book for me because it taught me I don't want to be a millionaire. It lifted the lid. I'm like, I don't want to be the guy buying a Ford truck. I don't want a Ford truck, man. Right? I got to buy a Ford truck, a used Ford truck, F-150. So one day I could be a millionaire.
Yeah.
And I can't go get coffee. I need to bring a brown bag to my office every day, not drink coffee at the shop in order to be a millionaire. Well, the reason I knew that was not good for me was because my dad died at 52 with a little bit of money. And I'm like, I don't want to die with money when I'm old. I want to have enough money. And that undid everything for me. I want financial freedom. I don't want to hit a quota. You know, and I think everybody's struggling for the quota. They're struggling for the bills. They set their financial plan based on what their spending is or what their apartment costs or what the mortgage is, or what their kids need, rather than I want freedom. I don't want financial literacy. I want financial freedom. You know, so I hear people say, oh, we need to teach financial literacy. No, you need to teach financial freedom, the possibility of it. What would I need? How much? You know, this whole cash flow thing that I talk about all the time. Cash flow is the holy grail of finance. That's why his business works. That's why he's able to enjoy the lifestyle he has. He has financial freedom, not a money number.
So it's not income, it's more cash flow that's focused.
Well, it's income in the beginning.
Yeah.
Look, income
To set it up.
People need to work. First, I would tell people, look, you need to get some financial literacy. What does that even mean? 2, focus on income. I don't abandon income flows. I'm still doing what I was doing 30 years ago. Like, nobody works harder for $15 than Grant Cardone. Okay. So, you know, I'll push for a $15 product because that's income. And it's a score. It's a little tiny score.
And it's a habit. It's almost a muscle, right?
Oh, it's
Stay in
definitely a muscle
momentum.
for me because I respect money.
Right.
So it could be $1, it could be $1.99, it could be $3. My kid worked you for 100. You know, was struggling with you for 5. I said, hey, just up the ante, babe. You know, and so, you know, these are things that are a bit they're like even you said, like, hey, Grant, you're known to talk about money a lot. You want to talk about money a lot. This Lee guy says to me, man, you like money more than relationships. I like relationships that help me produce freedom, so I can take care of my charity and my church, and I can take care of mankind, and I can create a legacy. And I can have enough money that I'm not so worried about my 24 inches, not his 24 inches, but my 24 inches, which covers my entire, like this proximity. You know, I remember when I couldn't even handle this,
Right.
the 24-inch neighborhood I had, my little Grant Cardone zip code. I couldn't even handle that. So I had to handle that first. And income takes care of that. And then it's like, but I need some bigger goals that allow me to, if I'm an introvert, extrovert enough to go get my freedom. So I can take care of my mom. And I can take care, so my kids maybe don't have to have the same worries and concerns that I did. Like Scarlett said, does she have to go to college? I said, baby, you don't have to go to college. You need financial freedom is what you need. Yeah. So you can go anywhere you want.
Makes sense. How about you, Ed? Best advice to your first $1 million for people out there?
Well, I think he gave you great advice right there. I think that, listen, people do 2 things, I think, incorrectly. Number one is most people don't have any goals. They have goals. They don't have obsessions. Both of us, before we even met, both were constantly discussing about your obsessions become your possessions, right? Like most people don't ever get obsessed about anything other than their problems or their worries. Forget money just for a second. They're just not obsessed with something that would fulfill them, right? So That's number one. And then number two, they set them so small once they set them. They shortchange themselves, and that's linked to their identity. So your goals are always linked to your identity. If you see yourself at a certain level, you think you're only worth a certain amount, you set goals at $1 million. And even if your goals aren't money,
Right.
Yeah.
listen, there are people listening to this who are not wired. It's okay if you were watching this and say, my goals aren't financial. I'll accept that for a second. What I don't accept is when people tell me that, but it's not replaced with another obsession that would fulfill them. If it's, I want to have 1 million children get educated, or I want to feed 1 million people, or I want to start a charity that does XYZ for homeless women.
All those things will take money.
Well, those things
Right.
do take money. Well, or the raising of money, right, from
Right.
someone else. And so I find it that people either aren't clear on what their obsessions are, or when they get them, they're just some arbitrary thing they've set low that they think everybody else would think is a big deal. And so we were just off camera right before we went live, and we were both saying to each other, which is just, probably only say to each other, is we both really feel like we're behind. We really feel uncomfortable with where we are, because what we want to achieve, when I've done my show, the number one thing that surprised me, Omar, is in my podcast, in my show, is when I interview people, some say it on camera, but almost all of them say it off camera. And that is that, honestly, this is something people would be shocked by. The mega achievers that I have on my show struggle with what I would even call borderline depression. This is a secret that most people won't tell you, right?
I've seen it on my show as well, yeah.
And okay, so you
They're
understand
not
this.
fulfilled, they're not happy. They made the money, but they don't have a momentum.
I think there's an element of that.
Right.
And I think there's another element that people that are mega achievers have such gigantic standards and outcomes for themselves that they're never quite meeting them. And I kind of like that. I kind of think that having some discomfort with where you are, everyone thinks, I think everyone's fantasy is, I want to get somewhere where I don't want something anymore. Listen to me on this. I think a lot of people think, if I could just get somewhere where I no longer feel uncomfortable, where I no longer want something I don't have, where I'm no longer seeking something. What they're really saying is, I'd like to get somewhere where I no longer will grow again, right? I don't want that. I always want to be in a state of discomfort, a state of growth, a state of contribution. And so you better be careful that whatever you set, that as you're approximating it, as you're getting closer, that the next one's thrown out there, the next one's thrown out there. We spent the better part of the last 2 hours, both of us, we're playing cards. What do you want, man? What makes you happy?
He was beating me at cards.
I took literally all his money tonight, as a matter of fact, right? Well, all the money that was on the table. But the point I think I would make to you is that your obsessions are what you're going to get. So be very careful what you choose, make them big, and make sure that there's something that, at least at this stage of where you are in your current level of awareness, you believe truly would make you happy, truly would make you fulfilled. And be very careful when you set them. And so if that's $1 million, great. Like, we're both at a point now where, and we don't mean it in a condescending way whatsoever. I know that $1 million is not a lot of money in this world.
Right.
Maybe it was a lot of money in 1940, but it's not anymore. People that make six figures, and bless their heart, there are still people walking around that have deluded themselves into comfort and thinking, I'm successful because I make six figures. 6 figures was a lot of money in 1965, man.
Right.
This is 2018, 2019, when some people will watch this. That's not a lot of money now. And really, neither is 7 figures in income anymore, right? And so it's just a matter of you getting aware of what your capacity is. And the more you're aware of how spectacular you're wired, the less you'd shortchange yourself with really small goals.
And just this depression thing. This is a topic that interests me so much.
Have you ever dealt with it at all, Grant?
Totally.
Okay.
Almost my whole life.
Still? A little bit?
No, well, what happens is socially, we say it's depression. But what if it wasn't depression and it was just truth? That I'm having to sleep with my own truth, that I can do more, right? So why wouldn't I be a bit depressed if I have this potential and I'm operating here? Every individual knows what they're capable of, right? So if I know I have this much potential and I'm living here, wouldn't I be like a little bit disappointed with myself? Yes. Now, what happened because back in the 50s, there was no depression. Nobody was talking about depression. People were talking about, how do I get to the next level, right? Today, in our psychiatric community, where the average American has 8 prescriptions sitting in their medicine cabinet. Like, I'm on one drug, I got to take a second drug to handle the third drug because of the blood pressure drug, because of this drug. And dude, I'm stacking out like, why? Because I was depressed? Why am I depressed? Because I don't look like, I don't have his arms. I have the potential to have his arms. Maybe not. Okay.
Pretty close
but,
right
but it would require me to go to work, right? Or I need to look a different way, or I'm aging, or whatever the deal is, right? Like, so for me, I have always struggled with depression. But it was more because people were telling me I was depressed when the truth is I was just disappointed, man.
Me too.
I was disappointed with me.
Me too.
You know, my mom would always tell me, my mom was always the first person I would call anytime I scored. And she was my best friend. And she passed when about 9 years ago when Sabrina was born. 5 days later, Sabrina was born. And every score I had, I was 51 years old, man. Between 25 and 51, every score I had, my mom was the first person I called. Mom, I did this. Every time, she had the same response. Son, that's great, but I love you just the way you are. Over and over, she told me that. And then one day I'm like, but I don't. Now, I can't really say that. A whole bunch of people are going to say, why don't you love you just the way you are? Something wrong with you, because there's that whole culture out there. This I don't know what the term is, but it's this holistic idea that you should love yourself the way you are. I would tell everybody, dude, if you know that you can do more, do not love who you are. Achieve who you can be, because you can be more. He's done it. I've done it. And I did it by replacing the depression concept, not doing the drugs, by the way. I was put on them like 5 or 6 times. And threw them away and just said, you know what? I'm going to go for my goals. I'm going to go for my potential. If I'm going to screw this up, I'm going to screw it up Grant's way, not their way.
That's so well. The only place where Grant and I are a little bit different on this, because we're saying the exact same thing, we're just using different words, is I love myself, but I don't accept me as I am. Probably, I have very few friends who are like, hey man, that's just the way I am. I'm like, really? You're 50 years old, that's it? And so I think when you hear people say depression, I think what it really is I just don't accept this version of me. I don't accept that I don't mean to be corny when I say this. I know I've not maxed this out. I know I've not 10x this. And so it is really true. You've seen it in your interviews as well. And I think that if what your desire is balance, is $1 million, is comfort, you're just setting something up, man, that is going to be miserable for you, right? You should always be in this state of flux where like, man, I know I can get here. I know I can help this many people. I know God gave me this giftedness to make a difference in the world. All of us, when we were little kids, when we were little Scarlett's age, we knew we were supposed to do something special. We knew we were supposed to do something great. Maybe our parents or the world or kids at school or whatever, life starts to happen and we forget. It gets further and further from us. And the most enlightened people that I know, the most successful people that I know, the most fulfilled people that I know are very aware of what their capacity and potential is. And so because of that, there's this tension inside them about getting there all the time.
Right, yeah.
And so that's why I don't want balance. I don't want that. I want that guy. And the closer I get to that guy, I'm going to want that guy, because that dude can help more people.
Then the question is, when's enough enough?
Right, that's the next question.
Everybody asks that. When's enough enough?
Right. Nunca.
I think it's a terrible question.
Never.
Right.
It's
Never.
a guy trying to make sense of where he is.
Right. It's actually offensive. It's people in your life saying, please conform so you make me less comfortable with my miserable existence. When my friends say that to me, hey man, when's enough enough? It's almost criticism of the fact that I'd like to go to another level. Can you imagine being in a huddle with Tom Brady and the guys in the huddle go, hey man, we've won 11 games. When's enough, Tom?
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine saying that to Kobe Bryant or to the leader of the free world, will it be a Barack Obama or a Donald? When's enough? Aren't we good? Are you kidding me? Right? Like, imagine if someone said that to Jesus. Yeah. Hey brother, when's enough? It's the most offensive question you could ask somebody. Any whatever your religion is, right? Can you imagine asking somebody, when's enough? That's an offensive question.
Yeah, it's the same version of my mom saying, hey, I love you just the way you are.
Right. And by the way, my family says that to me too, and they mean that out of love.
Right.
It's a different level of, what it really is that you're at a different level of awareness than what your mother was, who loved you dearly, right?
Yeah.
It's just their way of showing us affection. But oftentimes, that's his mother was an incredible mother, but probably he shouldn't be taking business advice from mom.
Yeah, because she told me not to start every business.
Right. So that's not an example of, that doesn't mean they're not wonderful people.
Right.
It means in that area, this is not someone you should be taking counsel from. And that's what I mean by it steals our dreams, it steals our energy, it steals our passion. And it's hardest for those that are listening to this, when the very people sometimes you're doing it for are the ones who are the ones discouraging you from doing it.
Yeah, the most.
But I promise you, when you get to that place, they're the ones that are the most grateful. I promise you there's a day where they're grateful
I always
for that.
knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always knew, exactly.
And then there's people watching right now that are asking themselves silently, I wonder if those two guys are actually happy. That's the other version of this. Are they happy though? Are they happy? Like there's this whole thing about success that people label on top of. Are they happy, but they still have problems? Their problem. Yeah, dude, I still have problems. It's the same problems everybody has. So does Jay-Z and Beyonce, right? Everybody's got problems. Like, question is, are you going to keep looking for bigger problems to solve rather than little small problems that you have?
No, it makes powerful
You're also
sense.
looking at two dudes, frankly, that are just, we're with you on this journey. We're figuring it out too.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
just
We're
figuring it
both
out.
figuring it out as we go too. And the truth is, I am happy. Especially today, I'm happy. I'm happy with him. I'm happy with you. Are there days where I'm not happy? Absolutely. But I kind of have found this recipe and formula in my life for what I know makes me happy, and I know what fulfills me. And that's a really cool place to be in your life, where you kind of know what makes you happy, and you know what makes you fulfilled, and you're seeking them.
Yeah,
And
you're
so
moving in
that's-
that direction.
That's a great
Yeah.
thing to know. So I feel like I have that.
Okay. Now that actually makes me think of another question, because I noticed both of you guys have a great energy, right? Now, when you're leading an organization or going after your dreams, do you guys find that other people, other winners, quote unquote, at the level of life that you guys play at, also are in an up energy? Like, I want to know, was that cultivated, or are you guys natural? I know Ed talks about being introverted a little bit. Grant, was that something that you like
He just says
cultivated?
that to connect to people. This guy's not an introvert. This guy is not an introvert, okay?
I'm introverted.
This guy at will can extrovert anytime he wants,
Oh, I agree with that.
okay? And at will, he can introvert. You know, so like there is no such thing. If you can show me that there's a test that proves, any test on this planet that has ever validated an introvert and an extrovert. Again, we're back to labels.
Right, yeah.
If you can show me a test, I will give you $1 million in cash to do whatever you want.
What I would just say about myself is I enjoy.
But somebody told him, somebody gave him those terms.
Well, that's by the
somebody
way-
made up those terms.
By the way, you're very right. When I was a little boy, I would be introduced as this is Eddie. He's shy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of validity to what you're saying. That was a label that was put on me.
A lady told a guy at the shop down here, the little one of the little grocery stores, told that to Sabrina when she was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, she's shy. I said, no, you're ugly. You're ugly, dude.
Right.
Okay, you're ugly. Don't tell my kid.
Yeah.
You take responsibility for my kid's response to you.
When I say that I'm introverted, though, I want
Yeah,
to just be clear, because I think people can relate to this. I enjoy solitude. Like I enjoy.
Yeah.
I told Grant earlier. I
Of
said, "Hey
course,
man,
who
you
doesn't?
have people around you. Like I enjoy solitude. I sometimes enjoy my own company. I enjoy the Lord's company. Right? Like I enjoy quiet.
Right.
And so that's what I mean when I say that I'm an
You just have a
introvert.
tendency in that
I
direction.
love people, man. I was so excited when you reached out to me again. Like,
Yeah.
I love people. I was looking forward to seeing GC and Elena and Captain Ryan. Like, I love people, but I enjoy solitude as well, right? And I know that's part of what I enjoy. But
Everybody enjoys people. Everybody on this planet enjoys people.
But
okay?
Grant, in your mid-20s, before you started on your
Yeah.
upward ascent, were you always an introvert? Were you
No,
natural sales
what
guy,
I was
talker?
I was a guy that was driven to provide for myself and my family.
So that never subsided.
So if I have to go through my introvert, my fear, whatever, man. Again, these are labels. They're bullshit made up labels. The depression thing these are labels, okay? We're told we're these things. We're told we're shy. Okay, yeah, okay. Everybody's shy. He's shy. Drop me in a room where I don't know anyone, and I'm gonna bend to the wall. I'm not gonna go jump into the middle of the room, you know?
Right, yeah.
Wake up, LA!
you've done that twice.
Yeah.
It didn't work either time.
But you know what I'm saying? I'm like I just do that stuff to because you do it when you're around comfortable environments. You know, people explode into their comfortable environments. The nerd. You ask the nerd, the introvert, the ideal, the perfect scenario nerd, right? He's on the computer. Ask him about something he loves. Ask him about that game he plays. That dude will freaking explode into extroversion.
That's true.
He's got passion for it,
So
energy.
in my mid-20s, man, I was like, I need a pair of shoes. Okay? I worked in a car dealership, and I was on concrete all day long, and my feet hurt, man. And I needed a pair of shoes, and those shoes were like $60. They weren't Nikes either. Okay, I needed a big. Show him your shoes right there, because it's got that nice. I saw him. He's got this nice big sole right here.
That's because my right leg's shorter than my left leg.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, everyone
I
knows in
didn't
my
know that.
book. I had a tumor in my right calf.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it balances my feet out.
Wow,
I didn't know that.
Didn't know that.
So,
Now you know.
but I was looking at the left one. I didn't even see the right one. So those are really good. That's what I needed at the car dealership. So I needed shoes. I didn't have any money, and I'm like, who's got my shoes? And so I'm like, I got to go call a customer. I got to go meet a customer. I had to go out into the environment because my feet hurt, man.
Yeah, so you're more focused on what you want versus who you are currently, right? Basically, that's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes total
it's
sense.
that thing about who's got my money.
And I'm probably the reverse. I'm probably more focused on who I am than what I want. And that's not bad or good. It's just, and you asked about energy. I do find that I think winning is an energy, and I think that influence is energy often. And I think that there are people that have it, and then there's people who have the ability to transfer it to somebody. Actually, let me reword that. Everybody has the ability. There are people who actually do it, though. And so you influence people with your energy. That doesn't mean like your intensity necessarily. I have some really great friends who have a lot of influence over me, whose energy is unbelievably persuasive in silence. They're so comfortable with themselves. And this is what I've told you before. I think you're a good interviewer. They're so comfortable with themselves. They're incredible listeners because they're comfortable in their own space. They don't need to be speaking to feel valid.
Oh, so many interviewers do that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, and you do a wonderful job of that. I find myself even sometimes I'll watch my interviews back. I'm like, I wish I would just be a little bit more quiet, you know?
More Omar.
Yeah, more Omar-esque. And so I think that energy is important. And I find myself, I gravitate to people, not necessarily, I have a lot of really close friends who aren't high net worth people, but they make me feel a certain way. And that's energy, right? So
Right.
I have, like, a lot of my friends, if you met them, they're really eccentric, strange, odd people. And I love them for that because their energy is just infectious. It's different, right? They're unique. I love unique spirits. I love people who express themselves like as they authentically are. They don't have to worry about being judged by me, right? So I do think energy is a huge deal in success. And I meet a lot of people. Just so you ever meet somebody like, I like that.
I love that energy.
Right,
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
that they make you, you're always making someone feel something. So you
Right.
ought to be conscious of what you're making people feel.
Right,
You
yeah.
make them feel you're boring, or you're not successful, or you don't matter, or what you have to offer them is of no value to them. So you're always making me feel something. So successful people are just more conscious that they are making you feel something, and they direct their energy to make you feel what they think you should be feeling. And the most effective energy is when it's congruent. When it's actually what I'm experiencing, I can give that to you. So absolutely, energy is massive.
But every person that's ever made him feel like that
Yeah.
came out for him to be able to meet them.
What do you mean by that came out? What do you mean?
They had to show up.
No question.
They
Yeah,
had to
absolutely.
be there, right?
No
They had to
question.
leave their home. Everybody's comfortable in their home. The old saying about no place like home. Of course, it's your environment. You created it. You know where everything is. It's a safe place. You know, after 9/11, homes in this country exploded. Like 9/11, people started buying homes like crazy. And they tied it to interest rates. They said, oh, they drove the interest rates down. Everybody went and bought homes. I believe what happened after 9/11 was people sought security and safety. If the world's going to come to an end, I want to be in my little cave with my family. And everybody just introverted immediately. I'll pay whatever it takes to have my own little space. All those people that Ed talked about, the eccentrics or the guy that made him feel a certain way, good or bad, they had to be in this space. They had to leave their home. Every great thing that's happened to me in my life happened outside my home, except for tonight. But I had to leave my home in Miami to come here to do this. So
Makes
even
sense.
there.
Gotcha. Okay, so how about this? A lot of people know what you guys have done in business because of the power of your salesmanship, your ability to sell, influence, persuade, give people value. What would be, for people listening, each of your guys' top 3 keys to be a powerful salesperson? Like takeaway notes, if somebody's got a pen and paper, or they got a business, or they're trying to build a sales team. What does it take to be a true 10x, maxed out, phenomenal salesperson from the legends themselves? So Grant, you go first.
You know, I mean, number one, you got to commit to being a great salesperson. Like, if you're going to commit to, if you're just going to be an average salesperson, you're going to hate it forever. So one, you'd have to commit. Tiger wants to be a great golfer, you had to commit to it. So number one. Number two, you have to get an education on how to be a salesperson. Most salespeople just don't ever, they don't know anything.
What education would you recommend, or what education helped you? Was it books, trainings?
Let me guess.
On your way
Go
up.
ahead. Let me guess.
I mean, there's no better education on sales than mine.
Right.
It doesn't exist on this planet.
Of course.
And I don't say that braggingly. I say it because it's true. By the way, Muhammad Ali said that. Look, if I am the greatest, it ain't bragging. It's true.
Well,
So-
how about on the way up though? What were some things that
On
you
the
were
way up,
considering
I started
on
grabbing everything I could, right? I started grabbing everything I could, and then I would take whatever I learned from Brian Tracy or Tom Hopkins or all those guys, right? And then I would study it. I kept a list. I was committed, though. And I kept a list of everything that happened to me, every customer. I hired my mom to work for me, and my mom would take notes. I said, all I need you to do is take notes. She would sit across from me. I was in this desk, and I would close deals. And I said, you sit there, and basically, this is pre-recorders and stuff. You take notes of what's happening, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, I would literally look at the notes. When you said this happened. When that said, you know.
So she would take notes of your sales?
Yeah. And exactly. I would take phone calls. Like I was a student, committed.
And this is even when you were kind of broke or kind of like figuring it out, right?
I'm
on your way up.
I'm starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm 25 years old, committed. I hated sales, hated it. And I'm like, I cannot lose another job. This would have been my 7th job. And I'm like, I'm going to commit. Before I quit this sales game, I'm going to get great at it. Then I'm going to quit. That was the whole plan. And once I got great at it, I'm like, I don't want. Who wants to quit something they're great at?
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
And I started winning. So the third thing I would tell you is, you got to in the sales thing, you have to learn how not to be emotional. The price is too high. I don't want to do it. I'm not interested. You have to be almost Dr. Spock. Not be emotional. Keep following up. Hardest thing to do is to not be emotional. So
do you still find yourself getting emotional about deals?
Oh, of course, man.
Yeah.
I mean, when you said that, I just ran a list of like 17 guys that I still haven't closed.
Yeah. Makes sense.
As soon as you said, hey, don't be emotional, I thought about, I didn't close that guy. He's in Boston. I worked this deal, that didn't happen. Okay. I'm working this angle over here, this didn't. All these deals that I have stored up in my inventory of losses, they're accumulated losses. And this is what happens to the salesperson, right? They get all these losses and they start lowering targets.
So what is it you think that you did that maybe other salespeople didn't? Because there's people hungry out there in sales. Obviously, you got a good pulse on that industry.
Yeah.
What do you think most people do wrong, even the ones that are hustling, grinding, going all in? What are they doing different? What is it that you figured out that most people haven't? Really? So it's that simple?
I don't know if it's, I don't know. See, I think people need to define what commitment is. For me, when I commit to something, the next 2 things that will happen is it will be on a schedule, requires time, and I will invest some money. All commitments, for me, require time and money. If I don't write a check, I'm not committed. If I don't take time out of my calendar, I'm not committed. So if I want to work out, okay, my body starting to cause me some problems, right? So I'm like, I'm committed to taking care of my body. Mm-hmm. What did I do? Wrote somebody a check, show up at my freaking place every day at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to work out. Okay, that was 4 months ago. I've missed 5 days in 120 days. That's commitment, time and money.
Right. Let me ask you this last question on that, because someone actually wrote in specifically asking, and Ed, you can chime in on this too, on your response. When should somebody, people get into sales, they kind of suck for a long time. Maybe some people are natural, maybe some people aren't. When should people admit, hey, maybe I'm not the best at this, let me move on to a more stable income, versus should they push through? I mean, for somebody struggling, I'm sure you guys can understand, maybe you guys have built sales teams where you have people on the fence. When should someone take a good, honest look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe this isn't for me, let me maybe focus elsewhere, versus let me just go all in and figure this out? What should somebody be evaluating when they're on the fence like that and they're kind of in uncertaintyville?
Well, I mean, they're on the fence because they ain't committed.
Yeah.
Really, so it just goes back to that.
It's not working because they're not committed. Like, you're looking at other things you can do. I mean, that guy that asked that question is looking at other things he can do. I invest in real estate. I don't invest in stocks. I don't do bonds. I don't do stocks. I do nothing but real estate. So I'm committed.
Why real estate?
Well, I don't want to move it into a real estate conversation, but the point is, I'm committed. I find a space and I work it. I work it over and over. Okay, it worked for me in sales. Hey, sales is my gig. I'm not gonna be the big app guy. I'm not gonna be the Facebook guy. I'm not gonna be the Silicon Valley guy. I'm not that guy.
Right.
So I can do a sales job. I'm 25. I'm broke. I'm in debt. The world needs salespeople. It is a job I already had. I just took what I had Then when I got good enough at sales, I'm like, I need to invest my money. For 25 years, all I've invested in is real estate. Like I just commit to a couple things and just groove it and grind it and push it and shove on it until one day I get to hang with Ed and you.
Makes sense. So Ed, how about yourself?
Well, there's a lot of great information there. A couple things. I think one level of influence is this. I think people mistake some things, and we'll talk about some specifics. The first thing is this. I finally figured out that I'm not trying to completely convince you of everything I'm saying. I'm trying to convince you that I believe what I'm saying. So I think there's a subtle difference when you're influencing people. People think to close you, I have to convince you to believe everything I'm saying. I don't believe that's true. I think I have to convince you that I believe what I'm saying.
Right.
That's a totally different level of influence. It looks less like a beggar. It looks far more certain, which is level 2. Level 2 is the more certain person will always influence the least certain person, and you know your product. So you should be more certain about it than they are, or your program. So a couple things about that. All kinds of things give you certainty, okay? Number 1, preparation. Knowing your script, knowing your product back and forth, believing in your product back and forth, knowing that you know the words, knowing you know what you're going to say when it's a dance. This is very interesting to me when people struggle at sales. There's only like a certain amount of objections you're going to get in whatever your industry is. You already know what they're going to say. It's one of 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 different things. You ought to be ready to respond to them. So most people in sales are professional presenters. They're not professional closers. So they're great at their presentation. They can't close. And so I got really good at closing because someone's going to close somebody. Either you're going to close me, you shouldn't, or I'm going to close you that you should.
Yeah.
And so the more certain person's going to win. If you just want to accept that truth, that one, you got to believe that I believe what I'm saying, not that you believe. People buy things all the time and say yes to things all the time that they don't necessarily believe everything about. They believe the person presenting it to them believes it. That's a different level. Number 2, someone's going to close someone. You had better be certain. There's so many professional presenters in the world. Very few people get skilled at being able to professionally close somebody and persuade them to say yes, right? I finally moved to where I'm not here to visit you. I'd like to be friends with you. I hope that we connect, but I'm here to get you to say yes to what I came here to get you to say yes to. And so that was second. And then the third thing I think overall is that you got to run large numbers in business. So I'm not suggesting that you blow off every single appointment, but people say, I'm grinding. I don't know anyone who grinds really hard. I don't even like that word, but that runs large numbers, okay? They get people to believe they believe what they're saying. They're completely loaded with certainty from their skills to their product knowledge to their belief to overcoming objections to closing to whatever it is. And third, what you think is large numbers, what you think is grinding is another person's really slow day.
Right.
And so when you really get after something, listen to me, total immersion in something, you can become unbelievably proficient at it. That guy who's thinking about quitting, he's not totally immersed.
Yeah.
He's not totally in. Let me give you an example real quick. My dad's got cancer. You know that. Grant knows it. My dad has something called liposarcoma. I think Dad's okay with me saying that now. 3 years ago, if you'd have said the word liposarcoma to me, I have no clue what the hell that means. I'm not an oncologist. I know nothing about cancer, right? All of a sudden, it became important to me. I became completely immersed in the topic of liposarcoma. I know what causes it, what treats it, what you die from it, how it doesn't grow, you name it, right? I'm not a cancer doctor, but I know a ton about that topic because it became so freaking important to me. If you really want to win, you'll get unbelievable at getting people to believe you believe it. You will be loaded with certainty from product knowledge to belief to skills, and you will be completely immersed with, I believe, no B plan. No other plan, no nothing out, completely immersed in it. Aside from dunking a basketball or hitting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, these are things that are limitations to human beings. But average, ordinary people every single day succeed in the business of persuading people. There is no limitation to you being able to do it except those things and the things that Grant added as well.
Regardless of your personality or type, you know?
Right.
Yep.
But you're not going to go through all that if there's no payday. Why would anybody go through any of that if there's no payday?
No, it makes total sense.
So there's got to be a payday. Like I know great salespeople have the potential to be really, really world changers. But their goals are so small. They settle. You know, I spoke at your event. I was really just talking to the front row.
He was. You're talking to the most successful people.
I was like, hey, I just want to talk to the most successful people in the room.
Yep.
You guys quit. You settled out. You stopped.
People's will to win is easily bought in life. And it's bought 2 ways. He and I have talked a lot about this. He keeps telling me to write this book, but you got to just ask yourself in advance. Here's what people do all the time in business and life, okay? They're constantly negotiating the price they're paying. They're in constant negotiation in their mind. Is this worth it? Can I go through anymore? I don't know. It's so hard. They're constantly negotiating the price. This zaps your energy. It zaps your certainty. It zaps everything from you. If you're going to win, negotiate in advance that you will pay any price required, that you are not for sale, as long as it's legal, ethical, and moral. Once you've done that, when I was poor, I'd walk into stores all the time. I wouldn't buy what I wanted because I was poor. I'd be flipping price tags over. What's it cost? What's it cost? What's it cost? I wouldn't get what I wanted. I'd get what I could afford, right? I'd negotiate the price. Okay, if you do that in your life, you'll eventually be bought. You will either be bought by failure because it's just too big a price, or worse, this is the one he's talking about, you're bought by some level of success. You get some price tag, they give you your number, and they buy your will to win, and you stop getting after, you stop going to the next level. Both are insidious. The obvious one is people who just sell out their will when they're failing. The other one is for the people in here that, oh, wow, now you're at 250 grand a year. Oh, wow, now you hit your big number, you're at $1 million, and your will was bought. If you really size up the really top level at anything, they can't be bought. It's like the heavyweight champion. How many guys, it's one thing to win a title. I coach a lot of UFC guys. One thing to win a title, totally different deal, man, to repeat. And to repeat again, and to repeat again, and to repeat again. And to go win in another weight class and another weight class. That's a whole different deal. It's one thing to win a Super Bowl. A lot of guys have won a Super Bowl. Totally different deal to win 5 like Brady. Totally different deal to win 6 like Jordan, right? Totally different deal. Their will to win could not be bought by the losses or the wins. This is the separator from the best at anything.
Now, do you
But
find that
LeBron came to LA. He didn't come here to win rings. He's not going to win a ring here. He came here for the money. He said it. He said it the night they lost. He's like, they're like, hey, what are you going to do? You're going to own the. You're going to come back and buy the Cleveland, the Cleve team. And he's like, man, you know where I'm at on the pay list. I'm like number 6, man. I got to get my money right. I told my wife that night. I said, he's going to LA. Guarantee he ends up in LA, because the money's here for him, right? Now, whether he can win another ring, maybe somebody comes out of another team. They got a plan. But he can't do that by
All
himself.
the Laker fans right now are going, just give him Kawhi Leonard, or give him Chris Paul, or give him somebody, and maybe he can pull a title. That's the other element, right? The great leaders in all different endeavors are the ability to collaborate and bring people onto their squad, onto their team that are better in certain areas than they are, right? And that'll be the separator for LeBron here. Because I love Kobe a lot, but Kobe did have a hard time later in his career of getting great players to come play with him. Right? And so that'll be the separator for LeBron, is can LeBron get great players to come play with him? I actually think he can, but it remains to be seen.
So we'll actually get into leadership, but I do want to ask, someone wrote in and they asked that you guys on social media, you give out a lot of advice, you help people not just with confidence and money mindset and living the life of their dreams, but what are some things that you guys now are dealing with that maybe you don't share, some vulnerabilities, insecurities, things that you're not totally comfortable in, or anything in life that is kind of uncomfortable for you that most people would probably be surprised to know?
I'll give you a few. Earlier when we were talking about balance, making sure that I invest myself in the right areas. I'm always not feeling I'm living up to what I'm capable of. So that struggle we talked about earlier is always kind of a thing for me. And also, I'm such a massive believer in certainty, and you get what you obsess about, that I found myself lately, and just as candid, like lately, knowing I need to even be more specific and more clear about not only what I want, but why I want it. And so I'm at a stage right now where I'm building my recipe and my formula. By the way, I executed 1,000 miles an hour whether I'm ready, but at the same time, I'm executing and navigating right now exactly specifically what I want for the next 10 years of my life and why I want it. Because at the end of it, people say all the time, well, material things, they don't make you happy. You ever hear somebody say that to you? Yeah, and that's just completely a lie. Have you ever bought a nice dress, ladies? It made you happy when you bought it, right? Or guys, you got a nice brand new car. If that made you happy, it doesn't fulfill you, but it can certainly make you happy, right? And so for me, I know that those things can make me happy, but I've had a lot of happy. I want to be completely fulfilled. And so I'm navigating in my mind, what exactly is it the next 10 years of my life that's going to fulfill me? not just make me happy, because our jets are amazing, great cars are amazing, but they're less amazing over time. What's never not amazing is serving people, making a difference, contributing. What's never ends for me, what never I get tired of, is making a difference in someone else's life, of thinking my life has meaning to another person. And so I'm navigating in my mind right now, and I'm struggling a little bit with exactly how do I reach the most people the best way, and why do I want to do it? So that's my struggle.
Oh, makes sense. How about you, Grant? What are some vulnerabilities? Because people never see you like really vulnerable or share where you struggle. So maybe share something you haven't shared before. That you get stuck or you get in your head. Maybe you talk to Lane about, you don't share with the world.
A lot of stuff. So like,
exclusive. Let's hear it.
He wants the gritty.
Give it to him.
I just used the restroom with Ed. If you want, right?
We peed in the same toilet at the same time.
He'd never done that before.
Which I'd never done before. So thank you for that. That was beautiful.
It was a beautiful thing, man.
You're such a confident, anyway. I really appreciate your confidence based on what I saw in there. Like,
it's freedom, dude. It's freedom. It's freedom. It's freedom.
It's amazing, your confidence.
Probably the biggest struggle, dude, is time. Here I am on the second half of my life, right? So now I'm starting to say, it's really about time. What can I do with the time I have? So, are things in place? What would happen if? I mean, I'm not concerned about making a difference while I'm here. I've made a difference. So I know I have made a difference. Not in enough lives, but I could check it off and say, yeah, dude, I helped enough people out. I get to heaven and God's like, hey man, there was a lot of cussing going on. There was about 9 years you wasted there. I'm like, yeah, but dude, I mean, come on. I helped a lot of people, brother. Open the door. I know you got a place for me. But that's not really the argument I'm having with myself. It's what happens I'm not really planning the rest of this life. I'm planning the next thing. So that's what I never tell anybody. Like, I'm thinking about 100 years from now.
You talking like spiritually in the afterlife, or are you talking about legacy here?
I'm talking about, can I live on? Can I make a contribution big enough that people would actually, say, hey, like in other countries, Sabrina would go to India and they'd be like, I knew your daddy. Or I read your daddy's book and it helped me get out of this place I was in. Now to me, that's we talk about sins and we talk about the things we do wrong but man, when's anybody talk about the things we do good? Like I know Mother Teresa's probably pretty proud of herself. So that's the kind of score I want. I want to, and I don't know if I have time to do it. So I kind of just woke up a little late.
Actually, that brings up another question. Someone else wrote in that a lot of times with media nowadays in these interviews, they appeal to 20 and 30-year-olds on the way up. There's a lot of 40 and 50 and 60-year-olds just getting into business, their first round at entrepreneurship, getting beat up, and they're like, man, the younger guys, do I have the energy to compete, right? Can I keep up with them? So what would be your advice to somebody like that, maybe in their 40s, 50s, 60s, just getting started in entrepreneurship?
My best run has been the last 9 years.
Me too.
Not like I was 51. I mean, I have more energy now than I got a reason. I was talking about a friend me and Ed and I have in common. And I'm like, he's got a big advantage though. And he's like, what's that? I'm like, came from another country. We're in America. We've been here the whole time. There is an entitlement. I was born here, raised here. I don't know what goes on in other countries until I go there. So there's a drive from the immigrant that comes here, right? He's got that drive. My drive now is time. And how do I use it? Like Ed was talking about, how do I use my time? Who do I use it with, right? So where do I play my cards? I got a hand. How do I play it out, And that's one thing I struggle with this time. Two is the way I deliver my message. It's awful. I deliver my message worse than anybody on social media.
But it's sincere, and I think that's why a lot of people relate to it, because they feel the intent.
But half the people, half of Ed's audience that loves Ed, probably 3/4 of the people that love Lewis House.
Right.
I mean, there's no way they're going to like me.
Right.
They're just not going to like me.
Is it because cursing?
This guy does such a good job. No, it's not the cursing. I don't even curse that bad.
Yeah.
I was with Tim Grover yesterday. I'm like, I had to come take a shower. I do a terrible job. I am a challenger. Okay, I have figured out how to use challenging in my sales. I've used it to raise $200 million in charity. I never tell anybody about that. Very, very rarely. Like that's a huge amount of money that I've raised for charities, right? And I've done it through challenging, through pushing through doors. Like I've always been that pusher guy. Like, and that at this point in my life, I need to back off on the push and to be a little more stately, a little more diplomatic, I think.
Have you ever tried to meditate?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love meditation.
Do you really?
I loved it.
You do it often?
I don't do it anymore.
Why not?
I found something better. So the problem with meditation is this, you know, the guy, I was actually very good at meditation. I went to Deepak's place, the whole deal, loved it. I've been seeking the truth since I was 8 years old, man. 8 years old, I'm like, man, well, it's gotta be more than this fear thing, man, you know?
Yeah.
So I've been interested. I'm more interested, this is the other thing people don't know about me. I am more interested in the spiritual than any other thing in my life.
Does that inspire you? You know, whether it's God or whatever spirituality or faith you practice?
Yeah.
Is that part of your motivation? Is that part of what keeps you going?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you think without that you wouldn't be as effective?
Without a doubt.
Ed, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, you know that for me, I just have this bizarre obsession with the end of my life here. And as a Christian, you know, I hope that the Lord tells me, well done, good and faithful servant. But I have this other part of me that thinks in that conversation, he's going to introduce me to the man on this lifetime I could have been. And what I was capable of, the people I could have helped, the places I could have been, the memories, the moments, the different things. And I'm afraid that if I'm challenged by and fearful that I'm going to meet that guy and we're going to be complete strangers. That to me would be hell.
Right.
Heaven would be we'd meet each other and we're identical twins. He goes, man, I'm so proud of you. And I'm like, hey man, I've been chasing you all my life. And I'm so glad that I maxed this out. And that's not corny to me. Like, I was driving up here today. I was driving up to 2.5 hour drive in traffic, and I only have so many days left on earth.
Right.
I've had some health issues in my life. And so I literally do think, like, is this the best place for me to be going today? I ask myself that, and I ask that often, like, is this where I should go? Because I can go anywhere I want. I don't have to be anywhere, man.
Right.
Right? And I concluded it was, because we're going to reach a lot of people today. And so for me, my spiritual life is the ongoing obsession of my life. It's the ongoing reason that I believe I'm here. And so it is literally everything for me. All the other stuff is meaningless to me. And so I don't even know that I do a really good job of expressing that to people. And I have learned to change my message too, to Grant's point, that I used to just speak to people like me. And I think people make this mistake in sales. They make this mistake in life. Like, you just talk to people from your worldview. You just talk to people like, I used to be all the time, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
I was young and intense. So all these young intensities loved my intensity, but I'd miss all these other people who had different ways of hearing messages. And I thought, that's not all me. That's one version of me. There's this other part of me that I don't ever show people. Why don't I ever show them this part of me? My family knows that part of me. My friends know that part of me. Why don't I think that's what Grant's saying is that there's parts of him he doesn't reveal to people that I know that other people know, that I am kind of more conscious now of saying, hey man, like there's more people for me to reach.
He's more mature than I am, though. I am the most immature person I know. That's the other thing. I am an immature person. The fact that we would go in there and pee in the same bowl, it's an immaturity. It's a very childlike quality I have. And a child does not have a lot of filters. My kids will say anything to him. And that is, I'm still a bit childlike.
Do you do that consciously to stay in a good flow because life is kind of hectic?
No, dude,
It's just natural.
He talked about this in the very first segment. Like, I'm doing my life and I'm just figuring it out, right? I want to have fun more than anything. I want to have fun. Like, everybody knows me about the money guy, and I'm pushing for the money and the real estate fund and doing this and I did that. But at the end of the day, I want to have fun. I bought a jet because I want to have fun. I don't want somebody telling me to put on my damn seatbelt. When
Take
I
off the
know
shoes in the terminal, yeah.
when I know a seatbelt cannot save me at 40,000 feet. If I'm gonna die in a plane, I want to be all over the plane, and I want to make sure it's mine.
Don't you like the one, turn your phone off? Somehow it's going to mess everybody's
Yeah,
equipment up.
yeah.
Isn't that hilarious?
So I was the guy that got that
I know.
reversed.
Oh yeah, you're the first guy ever to record the.
No, I'm the guy that
pigeon.
got the reverse. I'm the one that fought the FAA to reverse, turn the bullshit phone off. And I'm like, no, you
I
guys
didn't know
need-
that. I knew the bird strike
Oh
thing.
no,
I didn't
I'm
know
the
that.
one that got that reversed, dude. Okay, so I want to have fun, man. And again, I'm going to go back to this topic. You can't have fun if you don't have money. Nobody's telling this story. Like, where are all the rich guys? I'm calling all the rich guys out right now. Come out, tell everybody it's no fun being broke. It's no fun getting by, and you have a blast picking up the check. And not worried about where you're going on vacation or how long you're going to stay or what it costs. It's fun. Is it fun?
It's fun. Where we differ is I
But he's going to say it in a better way.
No,
Watch
I'm
this.
not.
Y'all, everybody watch this. He knows how to say it, okay?
I'm not going
and
to say
I
it.
don't.
What you just said was beautiful. It was true.
You're going to say it better. Watch.
I've been happy broke, and I've been happy rich, and happy rich is way better. I'll just tell you that. I have been happy when I was broke. I've been happy broke. I've had a loving family. But I can't create happiness for a whole lot of other people without any money. And I think that's what GC's saying.
Have you ever been happy broke, Grant?
I was never happy when I was broke. I mean, he's just fucking lying to you. Man.
No.
He ain't nobody happy broke, man. Okay, this guy was asleep if he was happy broke.
I'm telling you.
He was unconscious.
Yeah.
You shouldn't tell people that.
Yeah, I know
You're
you-
making sense of that.
Yeah, I think you think that, but I'm telling you that I know, and by the way, and all of you listen to this, know people that are happy that don't have a lot of money. Okay, and if money is what you think is going to make you happy, I'm telling you straight up, you're chasing something that is going to be a never-ending empty pit that you'll be chasing
He's
the
winning
rest of your
people
life.
right now.
No.
He gets hearts, and I get demon
Because I'm actually
signs.
telling them the truth. And so the truth is, I've been happy broke, and so have many of
For
you.
how long? How long were you happy?
I don't know, because I didn't stay broke that long.
Okay, well, good. So you're not he's not the source of information.
Right.
Okay, Steve Jobs says, look, man, don't do it for the money. Steve said that when he was rich. He was not saying that when he was broke.
Yeah.
Those guys were grinding. They were animals. Bill and Steve were animals.
Well, I think too what Ed might be saying, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Yeah.
is that Ed was happy on the way up while he was broke. He's not necessarily
He did
saying he
not
was happy
say that.
staying
He
broke.
did not say that.
Ed, is that what you meant? Would you
Well,
say
and
that's
I would
more
say
what you meant?
both are true. I'm saying that I know people that don't have money that are happy.
That are not
I mean,
pursuing
I'll be honest with
abundance.
you. The pastor of a church that's listening to this right now has no money, and I'll bet you they're happy. And if you think they're not, you're wrong.
And his church is
Right.
struggling. Congregations around the world are struggling because the families are having financial
And
troubles.
by the way-
and they're not showing up in church.
And that's true. So both can be true. So what you just said is true, and the first thing you said is not true. Okay, so what you just said is true about the church.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah,
a whole bunch
yeah,
of people
yeah.
watching this nodding their heads with me because, Grant, there are lots of happy people without money. Okay? Now, what you said secondly about the church,
until they go to the store.
that is true. Nah, it's not true.
Until they go to the store
There
and find
are-
out, oh, goddamn, hamburgers, $24, and I got 4 kids. Okay? Until somebody gets sick in the household and my dad gets sick and I can't pay the 60 grand, or my little girl ends up being a drug addict and I can't send her to a treatment center. Now nobody's happy.
All that's true.
Everybody is freaking out now.
All that's
because
true.
they're like, shit, I ain't got any money to get my kid to a treatment center. I can't get my kid to get a new lung. I can't get influence. Now nobody's happy.
Right.
Because there's no room for
Right.
happy.
Right.
Now it's fear and terror. I
Right.
grew up like this.
Right. All that's true.
Okay.
And let me just tell you the other where I disagree. If your child is a drug addict, whether you have money to get them treated or not, you are not happy. Okay? So you just use an extreme, it's a false premise.
no.
If you have a child as a drug addict, you're not happy,
10%.
period. Whether you had
There's
50
30 million drug addicts in America
Okay.
right this second.
I know that, by the way. They're in my family. My
Okay,
dad's a
good.
recovering one. And let me tell you something right now. If there's a guy watching this with $50 million in the bank and a drug-addicted daughter,
Yeah.
and there's a guy in this watching this with a $50 in the bank and a sober daughter who's happy and fulfilled, the guy with the $50 is happier, Grant. Just telling you straight up. Yes, he is.
No.
Because the life conditions that you have. Now, what you said about getting them treated is very valid.
Yeah.
What you said about the church is very valid. But I promise you, because I know a lot of these guys, they got all kinds of money and they got adult children that are completely screwed up.
Yeah.
Okay? And they're miserable people because their families are a mess.
Now,
their life
now you're
conditions,
saying
their
now you're
spirituality is
saying though,
different.
Ed, now you're saying it. But Ed, now you're adding a lot of
I
different.
didn't add anything. You did. You added this false narrative about a drug-addicted kid. And I'm telling you, if you have a drug-addicted kid, you're not happy whether you got $50 million or not. When that kid's sober.
But you can provide a solution.
Totally agree with you, by the way.
The person with $50 does not have a solution.
I agree. I have a sister who's diabetic.
Yeah.
Okay. So here's where you're completely right. I have a sister who's diabetic who has had struggled with vision issues in her life. Okay. And we'll just leave it at that. I like the fact knowing that I can be there for her to help her. There's massive benefits to being wealthy. I am happier wealthy. It's better to be wealthy. It's incredible to be wealthy. It's 3 billion times better for you and everybody around you that you create abundance and wealth in your life. That can be true, and it can also be true that someone can be happy in the absence of money. That's what I'm saying to you. And so I'm telling you, there are people watching this that are very happy people who don't have a lot of money. It's not their priority. Now, you're saying they'd be happier with it. That's a fair point. Perhaps they would be. But I'm telling you that where, by the way, that's why you wanted a good interview with the two of us today, right? By the way, I want everybody listening to this who has a priority of abundance and wealth in their life to have more of it. And one of the things I despised when I was broke is rich dudes telling me, it ain't all that big of a deal to be wealthy. You don't worry about material things. I couldn't say, I'm like, that's easy for you to say when you eat lobsters and filet mignons every night, drive a Bentley, live in a beautiful, safe, gated neighborhood, and my kids are getting shot at on a porch somewhere in a bad part of town. I relate to all of that. So I know what you're really saying. We're just saying it, I think, a little bit differently. 100%, one of the worst things in the world is someone gets somewhere and goes, it's not worth it. It's 1,000,000%. If I knew how good it was to get wealthy, I'd have done it bigger, faster, and sooner, and I want more of it.
Yeah.
Okay? But I'm also telling you that there are people who are watching this who their happiness is not from money. They're leading a church right now. They lead a school right now. They're a doctor who heals people and saves lives, or drive an ambulance, or they ran into a freaking building on 9/11 and saved someone from that building, and they have no money, and they have completely lived an amazing life, and they're happy. And there's a family that's happy they pulled them from the building and have no money.
But
so,
I don't think that was the question, though. I mean, you can be right, dude.
Maybe,
okay.
Maybe it's not.
I'm just saying,
I love this debate.
nobody should make sense of being broke and somehow saying you can be happy.
No one should rationalize being broke.
Because the fireman that went in and saved the family, the next week, okay, he's happy. Oh my God, I did this great thing. I'm a hero. He's like, no, I'm not a hero. I did my job.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, he cannot buy food for his family. At that moment, he will not be happy. It is impossible to be broke and happy. Because every day you're confronting, we live on an economic planet. It costs money to live here.
Correct.
And that's all I'm saying.
Again, I'm just saying that's a false premise that a fireman can feed his family. He just may not want a G550.
I'm not talking about a G550,
Well,
dude. I'm talking about being broke.
Okay.
You're talking about wealthy. I'm not talking about wealthy. I'm talking about I can't buy a hamburger. Broke is about I can't buy a hamburger. It's not about I can fly private. We're talking about like different ends of the spectrum.
Okay, well,
I'm talking about, you asked me, was I ever broke?
Well, I use
when
the
I was
example
happy. Hang on.
Yeah.
And I said, never.
Yeah.
I was never happy when I was broke.
Yeah.
Okay, not for any period of time.
So there's a difference between a pastor and a fireman. The pastor isn't happy.
I've never been a pastor, so I don't know.
Okay, well,
and
I know
I've never been a fireman.
But I bet you that
I know a pastor.
Right.
And I know a fireman.
Right. So do I. And I think they're happy.
And I've been broke and I wasn't happy.
Right. Okay. Well,
And it doesn't mean that I have money and I'm happy, by the way.
Right.
Okay. You can have I know guys with 3 jets. I know a guy right now owns 3 jets and doesn't do anything with them.
Yeah.
He's not happy. He's not free. Okay. To me, the happiness thing is about freedom. It's about I get to go where I want, do what I want, hang with who I want. Okay. Have the customers that I want or don't want, or say, I don't want you, here's your money back. I don't want to even do business with you. Mm-hmm. That to me is happiness. Like now we'd have to define what is happiness, right? For me, happiness is a freedom. Go where I want.
So was Mother, but this is a great topic. I'm asking you.
Yeah.
You brought Mother Teresa up earlier.
Yeah.
You think she was happy?
I don't know. I never met her.
Okay.
I have no clue.
Okay, but I don't either.
Yeah.
But I think to just say because she was poor, she was unhappy would be an incorrect assumption.
I don't know, dude.
Okay.
I know this. She had to raise money to get the job done.
Right. So because everything is how you attach
and she could
meaning
do
to
more
something.
good. She could do more good, right? I don't know that she was broke either. She probably never needed for anything in her life.
Like the fireman.
Somebody funded her.
Right.
Somebody funded Mother Teresa's. Like
Right.
when I talk about
At some
broke, I'm
point.
not talking about whether it's my money or not.
Right.
It doesn't have to be my money.
Yeah. I just think everything is the meaning you attach to a situation, right? So use Mother
Have we
Teresa for
worn this
example.
topic out long
We have,
enough?
yeah, but I think it's like it's an awesome topic because it's we both want everybody. It's kind of what you said about messaging too. We both want everybody listening to this to be wealthier and do great things with their money, to influence more people. We both do. We're just saying it a little bit differently, and I think it's a healthy debate. It's like if we just agreed on everything, what's the point of having both of us on the show, right? Like we're great friends. Like we discuss things off camera where we agree about 99% of the stuff and we disagree about something. But I think perspective is an important thing. Last thing I'll tell you, Mother Teresa. See, you and I go.
Did you know Mother Teresa?
I didn't know her. I don't know her. Neither did you.
I already said.
Right, I know. But she was poor.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I never knew that she was
She was
poor.
a nun, so I'm assuming she didn't have $100
But
million.
you don't know that she was poor, dude.
Well, I've read enough about her life to know at least early in
I
her
don't
life she
need
was
money
certainly
to
poor.
have wealth.
Okay. Well, this is, you might want to ask him about that.
Okay.
Okay, good, because that's different than what I.
I don't need money to have wealth.
Oh.
Okay. It's not having money. It's control. So I don't know if she was funded or not. If she was funded by others so she could go do her mission, somebody's got to fund the project. Okay. Elon Musk is not going to Mars on his money.
Mm-hmm.
He does not have enough money. I don't know what he's worth, 7 or 8.
I don't know.
He ain't going to Mars with $7 or $8 billion. But he has control of and influence of enough people. That's wealth.
And I don't know that Elon Musk is happy. I have no idea. I've never met the man.
I don't think he's happy right now.
Yeah.
I think he's proven that smoking weed could cost some money.
Let's move on from this topic, but I think it was really healthy dialogue.
Absolutely.
I don't know if it was healthy or not.
Super healthy.
Well, it'd be healthy if I crack him right now into the pool.
Now let's move on to the next topic, and it's something that a lot of people don't talk about, but just how important do you guys find it is to pick the right person when it comes to relationships? I know Elena's here in the audience, and you also, Ed, talk about how important it is to pick the right person, but can you guys share some insight about just how important it is for people out there to pick the right person to be their life partner, whether they're entrepreneurs or otherwise? Because I think it would serve a lot of people to get your guys' opinion on that.
Wow.
No amount of money will solve that problem. You got the wrong person, you just got the wrong person.
So what does the right person mean to you?
Well, they got to be compatible with what, where I'm going, and or I have to be compatible with where they're going, or both. So, relationships, look, just handling my 24 inches is difficult. Add another person to the dynamic, I'm complicated within myself. So all of a sudden you add another person, now you got all that person's complications. Add 2 kids, now you got, like you're talking about, issues.
So what was it about Elena that you made you know, like, all right, boom, she's the one, she's my wife? It's like, what was it?
Something just like, I had done enough homework.
Research?
I had done enough research, enough experimenting, all in the goodness of experimenting. And I can't go back to San Diego County. So I lived in San Diego and I had to leave there. so I did so much experimenting. So, and so when I met Elena, first night I moved to LA. Okay, this is what I'm gonna go back to. I eat my products. Okay, so whatever I tell you here is what I do in my life. That's all I know is what's working for me. So when I say, hey, a commitment requires time and money. When I made the decision that I'm gonna get married, I sold my house in La Jolla and I moved to LA. And I met Elena the first night I was here. Sold a dream house. Like, nobody's gonna get anything they want without giving up what they have. You have to give something up to get to the next place. Met her the first night I was here, just down the street, downtown LA. I knew 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, bang, that's it. But hey, I got to tell you, to be honest with everybody, I've said that about a lot of women. Okay, bang, that's it. Okay. Now, for whatever reason, this one stuck. It took a little work, a little pursuit. I think she was reeling me in the whole time, playing me like a damn one, like just a one-string little penis, right? And she's
A
like
what?
playing me the whole time.
one-string
little
little
one-string
penis?
violin. I just changed that.
Wow, that was deep.
Because that's what drives that man.
You
when
played
he's
him
looking
like
for,
a one-string little penis. By the way, we peed in the
Tiny.
same toilet earlier, and I can attest to the fact that the latter part of that is true.
Hey, I'm proud of who I am, man. Okay, I just work with the equipment I have. All right. So I made 2 beautiful kids with that.
You did do that.
Yeah, no, I know. Now it's worked out. I mean, 15 years we've been together. We've worked it out. There's been moments where we really fortified and really strengthened a relationship, and I think that will continue to happen. So we are on the same page. We know where we're going and why. We know what the end play is. So we're not always perfectly on that line. We drift. People come in, start telling us other stuff. We get we were watching Beverly Hills Housewives for a while. We had to quit watching. We were arguing all the time. I'm like, what is causing these arguments? They're coming out of nowhere, man. And we start looking for who's the person. I'm like, maybe it's the shit we're watching. Sure enough, quit watching the Beverly Hills Housewives. Talking about divorce, arguments, you don't pay me enough attention, blah, blah, blah. All that was getting dropped into our marriage and ended up in our bedroom. And so I don't go to Ed about my marriage problems. She doesn't go to her friends. We don't get advice from other people that don't know what the hell they're doing. And we don't read tabloids where divorce is perpetuated. So she's a good chick, man. She ain't perfect. But she's a great chick, man. I'm like, and I'm not perfect. But I'm kind of happy with me.
So if you had to give takeaways, I mean, I know there's a lot to it, but if Grant Cardone had to give us top 3 relationship tips off the top, what would they be?
It's to have a significant other.
The beings have to have a similar vibration. Okay, I know people say it likes, and what is it? Likes opposite attracts. Yeah, well, I don't believe that. I think that's just a bunch of bullshit. I think people need to vibrate similarly. I can't go 500 miles an hour and expect to be with somebody that wants to go 80. Mm-hmm. They're going to be uncomfortable. They're going to be like, you need to slow down. I'm going to be like, you need to speed up, and we're going to have this thing. So if one person's on the brake and the other person's on the accelerator, you're going to wear this freaking vehicle out. And that's what I see happening in a lot of relationships. And so the people have to figure out who's doing what, who's driving, where are we going, and admire that in each other, right? So a little private thing that I don't share much is that, that concerns me is like, man, if something happened to me, is she ready? Ed sees me hanging around people. I am surrounding myself with more family. Okay, not because I need people around me, it's because I'm planning. Okay, because I can't go on without people. Right? Other people they'll carry out my legacy. I tell Jared all the time, what if I'm not here? What are you going to do if I'm not here? You guys need to operate like Grant's not here. What would Grant do now? And so I worry about that because when my dad died, my mom should have been in grief that week. And my mom wasn't in grief. My mom was in fear and terror. Okay? She could not have the grief of losing the love of her life, because she was now forced, and this goes back to this broke thing, right? She had to now worry about managing money. And that's maybe where this drive in me comes from. I couldn't help my mom. I was 10 years old. And I just swore over and over, I'll never, ever be in that position again. And it concerns me about her because I'm like, man, if something happened, would she know what to do? So that she doesn't have to worry. So that she can continue to be charitable. It's not whether she keeps the jet, because it's already in the will. Sell the jet, sell the house, okay? And then don't touch these jewels over here. And they'll take care of you. But will she be able to continue to give to charities? Will she be able to fund, I have a passion for helping kids that don't have fathers. So we create a foundation. Can that foundation continue to be funded so that kids 10 years old, 15 years old, 20 years old. I know kids that are 25 don't have dads, man. They need a dad. They go bad because they don't have dads. And drug addiction amongst kids that don't have dads is like 63% of all drug addicts don't have fathers in their lives. Suicide rate, 3 times higher of kids. 63% of all suicides don't have a father, 3 times the drug addiction rate. Like all the stats say a dad is important. So, you know, I told her, I said, man, something happens to me, don't do these things, do this thing, and go get a husband. And make sure he's good looking, as good looking as me. And keep Ed close to you too. He's a good dude.
Thank you. I would be there, by the
I know
way.
you would.
I would.
I know you would.
It's interesting. I'll answer your question in a minute, but I think this is really telling what Grant's saying right now, because I was going to say this earlier about the Mother Teresa thing, but it applies with what Grant just said. It's not the events in our lives that define us. It's the meaning we attach to those events. And it's clear that to me, and the more I've known this brother, the passing of his father was this massive defining moment. And he took some meanings from that moment in his life. And one of those meanings involved money. Right, involved the helpless state of his mom at that time. You hear when he talks about that time in his life over and over again. He talks about the difference that it made for him, and you know, the charity that he now supports, where, you know, boys without dads. And so that event, that event defined him and the meaning he took from it. And it's been a driving force probably in making him the success that he's become in his life too, right? So what he did is he took a really positive meaning from that, but it's deep with him. He watched that struggle. I'm in the financial services business. I know what it's like when a father passes away. I've had this, I mean, in our firm, thousands of times probably. You know, someone we tried to help, we didn't help. And a dad passes away with a wife and children and no insurance and no money, to his point about, you talk about misery and being broke. And so there's validity to all of that. It's so true, and he lived through it. And so I understand the deep meaning of hard to be happy when you're broke, and that is true. And so I want to acknowledge that version of that, because that obviously defined him. So I mean, it's clear every time he talks about it. When he talks about it, I look at his face when he doesn't. It's just, that's Grant.
Yeah, I've never seen him tear up.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
Grant. I have. The many times he's talked about that story, and so
You should have that in your messaging.
he should. He does. He does, but it probably should be more. So it's the driving force. It's also uncomfortable when you're a stud dude, like. But that's the driving force for him. I know that's the driving force of his life. His life changed then, right? And so it's the meaning we attach to those events. Luckily, he attached a positive intention eventually in his life to that event, right? And that's why he's such a wonderful dad. To answer your marriage question, I'll just answer something people don't answer. So there's obviously, you got to love each other. You got to have trust, which everybody talks about that, right? Trust. There's 2 things people don't talk a lot about. You got to be married to somebody who believes in you. A lot of people have love, have a lot of trust, but the truth is, if you really ask the spouse, they don't have deep belief in that other person's capacity to do something special. And so I think in seeking in a relationship or giving to each other, it's deep belief in that other person. It's not talked enough about. Yeah, you got to love each other. That's like base level stuff. You don't have love or trust, you have no marriage. But that belief thing, that's the kicker that makes it an extraordinary one. And then there's a 4th one no one talks about, but it's just being real. You got to be attracted to each other. You have to physically be attracted to each other. Otherwise, you live with your buddy, right? And a lot of marriages go south because there's no attraction anymore. They're just friends living together. So marriage counselors all the time about, you got to be great friends. You got to be great friends. Yeah, you do, but I got lots of friends, and I don't want to lay next to them every single night. You have to be attracted to them and want to be intimate with them. That's what makes it a marriage. Now, there's an age and a time where your intimacy may not be sex all the time, but it's holding hands or touching. Or Christiana's parents, when I used to date her when we were kids, I'm sure they were still intimate, but I would walk in to pick her up for a date, and you could see into their living room. Such a beautiful thing. And her mom and dad would be slow dancing on a Friday night in the living room, just alone. No one knew. They were just intimate, you know? And so you have to have that in a relationship. And that's the trust and love that's the base. But then do you have belief, and do you have intimacy? Are you physically attracted to each other? Do you touch each other? If that's sex, that's a big part of a marriage, right? Especially when you're younger. As you age, if there's some age, I'm sure, I'm not there yet, luckily, but you know, it's holding hands, it's hugging each other, it's just being physically connected to each other. The physical connection is part of a marriage. And so that's a separator.
No, that makes total sense. Okay, now let's kind of segue back to business,
Sure.
kind of coming full circle here. And this is kind of different than the relationship talk, but when it comes to building your business right, I mean, it's one thing to build it to a certain level. It's a whole new world to take it to higher and higher levels. And there's a big difference between entrepreneurship and solopreneurship, which Grant, you talk about. And Ed, you're in the business of building wealth through team building. So can you guys talk a little bit about what you guys have learned about how important it is to hire the right people? What are important traits, attributes when building a team to look for? Or is it just training? Is it just a matter of hiring quickly and firing fast? I mean, what are the particulars, the little nuances that you guys have learned about your best advice and best experience on how to build the right team for your business to take it to the next level?
Well, we live on a planet that's kind of broken. People broken, miseducated, undereducated, overeducated, drug problems, in schools too long. People, they've been hammered, losses, like that's who you're hiring. So in every business, every industry, I've worked in almost every industry now, and filled with broken people. Facebook's got them, Microsoft has got them. They're everywhere, man. So they're people, they're human beings, right? So they're struggling, they're having problems, like they're having marriage problems, they're having health problems, they're having parent problems, they're having moving problems, they got the drugs in the medicine cabinet problems, like it's everywhere, man. They got kid problems. That's who you're hiring. So when I moved to Miami, somebody said, "Man, you're gonna like you can't hire people in Miami. The Miami talent is terrible." I said, "Man, I'm leaving LA. Go down there." They're like, "No, Miami is the worst." I said, "Well, then I'll just have to be better." So if you're having trouble, every city I've ever been to, when I work with CEOs, they say number one problem here is the people. I said, then you need to get better. So to the degree that you're having problems with people, you got to get better, and it starts with you. And you're only going to hire the people, like we have people come to us. I'm turning resumes down. I'm like, I can't see enough people. Like I got people that so many people want to work with us because we're successful.
Right.
And if you want good people, get big.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to work at Facebook. Okay, the average person at Facebook makes $250, just under $250 a year. Which, by the way, if you do any kind of financial literacy, you would know that guy walks away with 60 grand. 250 in Silicon Valley converts to 60,000 bucks after all his expenses. He's broke. He might not have 60, by the way. So, you're going to have to go through a bunch of people. Recruiting should be the number one thing for every company out there, every entrepreneur. First thing you should look for is not a sale. That's what I did wrong. I was looking for a sale. I should have been looking for a recruit.
So focus more on team building than just sales.
Now, well, you need to recruit, and that means you need to pay people. Now we're back to that other ugly problem that nobody wants to talk about. I need some money. Everybody wants to be the boss. Nobody wants to pay the invoice.
Yeah, you recruiting the lifeblood of every single business, and the first thing I would just say is that you got to sell a big enough dream that the dreams of everybody you're ever going to have involved in your organization can fit inside the one you're selling. So most of these entrepreneurs out there don't sell it big enough, don't talk big enough, don't think big enough, and aren't intending to do big enough. And so your message is so small, nobody can fit inside it. They got these people you're talking to, they have ambitions and dreams and hopes too. You got to sell a big enough one that theirs can fit inside the one you're selling. And here's the thing, man. It's got to be repetitious. You have to say it over and over and over. You can't get tired of saying, here's an old adage that I'll give to you. Leaders are always trying to say new things, right, to old people. Okay? Don't do that. Say old things to new people. Keep getting new people. Keep saying the same thing over and over again and get new people all the time, right? That's a huge factor. And be repetitious with it. The second thing is this. You have to create a culture and a mission and a cause for your business, okay? If you don't have that, people will do a ton for money. That's the number one driver, but people also do a lot for the mission, the cause, especially millennials. Ironically, a lot of young people now want to be a part of something that's cause and mission oriented. And then what he said's a fact. You better build a winner. People want to play for the Lakers, man. People want to play for the New York Yankees. They want to play for the Patriots or the Cowboys. They want to play for Facebook or Google, okay? You build a winner, people will come. The way you build that winner is by selling a big enough dream. And then here's the other thing. You can't BS people. You can't just talk. You got to back it up with your own effort, your own example. People know what you're saying is valid when you're congruent. Like, we're going to do these big things. They see you crushing it, means it's true, okay? Then you create that environment. When I went to your place, I walked in for their sales meeting, and I already knew he sold it big, 10X, right? I already knew that. But then we walked in, immediately, there's like this environment. See, you recruit to an environment,
Yeah.
right? The environment is what gets people, your message and your environment. I walked in there and I told him, I said, this is the best environment I've ever seen in a sales company.
And his organization is
unreal.
50 times bigger than mine.
Right, and mine you can't see it because it's spotted all over the place. This, you walk in there, I was like, my God, the energy, the enthusiasm, the reverence they had for Elena when she spoke that day, and for Grant, the enthusiasm level and energy, and how committed the people were in that space to what they were trying to accomplish at any given time. Massive accountability, massive accountability. I went, this environment's bananas. Now, what you'll do is you'll still pour through people in a bad environment, but when you do get a thoroughbred, when you do get a rainmaker, when you do get a stud, they get into your environment, you can max them out. If you don't have that environment, man, you get a thoroughbred, they leave.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't stay if you don't have that environment.
Yeah.
That's why the environment's so huge.
And what you need to build something big enough also that has rings on it so that people can play in other spaces. So what I mean by that is, like, when a guy gets into in the inner ring, let's say, the outer rings are even more enticing. Okay, so that's the problem with the solopreneur. They got their one little gig, it makes whatever, right? 200, 400, a million. Somebody gets really good. I recruited Ed Mylett, and he gets really good. He's like, there's no place for me here.
Right.
And he bounces out and starts his own deal.
Yep.
This is a recurring problem. I'm bringing people in, and they bounce out and go do their own deal. Now they're competition. You know why? It's not because he's a thief. It's because there wasn't a second ring and a third ring and a fourth ring. So I have rings now. Ryan Secco, he comes in as a phone guy. Bang, then he's the pilot. Now he's in the real estate. The guy's gone in 3 years from working a $125,000 a year job to deals that are $125 million. Like, he's next to me on phone calls where I'm negotiating $160 million worth of debt on one deal. Like, we're playing with big boys now. He did all that because he didn't chase a career or a job or a salary. He looked for an opportunity, and he looked for how big can that opportunity get. And I think this is a problem that people that go to Facebook, they're making a mistake. They should be looking for entrepreneurs that want to accelerate and build massive opportunities for other people that can keep doing this. And lastly, I would just tell you, I'm recruiting people, right? But people should be looking where they go. They should be looking for opportunity before anything else. Not money, not where the location of the office is. They should be looking for, particularly the talented people, how big could I get with this company? And they could go further with a company, in most cases, than they can by themselves.
Okay, well, damn, we talked about a lot of stuff tonight, but I actually have a couple more questions here before we wrap up. But I want to ask you guys, looking back on your guys' unbelievable career, and I know you guys still have a long way to go, taking it to the $10 million level, $100 million level, I mean, 9 figures is not an easy metric to hit. Being that you guys play the game at this level, I'm curious, what's the biggest misconception that you guys found about what it takes to actually achieve the dream, or at least this level of it, versus what you thought it would actually take? And the reason I'm asking is because there might be an audience out there watching this that aspires to be where you guys are at, and they might be thinking inaccurately about what it takes. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah, mine was that I needed to be prepared for every next level. Like, somehow everything was preparation. I had to be completely ready for the next one, then I'd be completely ready for the next one, and then I'd be completely ready. And that's just not how it's worked. I got prepared a couple times and I was ready, but there's a whole bunch of times I was completely ill-prepared, and we just charged into the dark space, right? We just went to that next place unprepared. We would figure it out when we got there. I had this philosophy and this thing in my head that I'd always sort of be able to be ready for the next space, and we'd have the perfect plan every single time. And that was almost never the case. Right. We've just sort of moved into the next level, and we've achieved things and seen things and gone to places. I've sort of surrendered that, I gotta have a big old vision, and I'm really big on that. I've also sort of surrendered to the fact that I'm gonna enter some spaces, man. They're gonna show me some things eventually that I'm not even thinking about right now. Then I'll see them from where I go. And so that was a huge misconception of mine, that everything needed to be prepared for. I needed to be ready for every single one of them. And absolutely not the case at all.
So just taking imperfect action.
100%. Yeah.
In Grant, same thing, just imperfect action.
Well, definitely in my case, imperfect action.
Me too.
So, look, I remember when my target was $100,000. I just wanted to make $100,000 a year. And then it was like, okay, I want to make $10,000 a year passive. I just need $800 a month coming in. passive, then I'm not working for it. That was the first targets. All involved zeros. So
I love that about the zeros.
it's the only math I could do. Okay, 100 grand, I make 100 grand a year. I just want to earn 10,000 bucks a year that I don't have to kill myself for. So the big mistake the whole time looking back is that the think was too big. I should have been playing the 3 comma club the whole time. Ever since I was 25 years old, I should have been planning for the 3 comma club. It was attainable back then, and I didn't know it.
So looking back, you would have just played a bigger game from the beginning.
For sure. I would have gone into different
Great
spaces, I wouldn't have been doing what I picked the wrong careers. I picked the wrong careers like 3 times now. Okay? And they made me money. And then I got trapped in them. Okay? So I made it picking the wrong careers. Me and him talk about a business that I'm in. I'm like, Ed, there's nothing there. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just full of illusions. Mm-hmm. Told you that 20 times now. Yeah. Full of illusions. There's nothing there. Okay? And my first business, second business, third business, man, they were all just, there's nothing there. And I pushed so hard in them. I overworked all my spaces. So that's a big mistake. I've underestimated how much energy it takes, and I've also underestimated, because I underestimated what it would take to do it, I overworked the space. I literally overworked all my spaces. I was telling Ryan this today. I constantly overwork because I trust nothing. Mm. I don't trust any effort. Like, I think everything will not work. And so I'm like, okay, add one more, add a second one, add a third one. And the next thing I do is I make a mess. Like, I make constant messes everywhere I go. So, constant, there's messes everywhere I go. Somebody's having to pick up shit. But hey, next thing you know, we figured it out, right? And now all that being said, it's also been easier than I ever imagined. I never thought I would get where I'm at. I underestimated, like, I am so far beyond anything I ever dreamed of. Like, I heard Barbara Streisand say this, that she had dreamed everything that happened in her career, she dreamed it for. I dreamed none of this. Never in my lifetime.
Me either.
Did I think I'd fly on a private jet, of anybody's private jet.
I never even thought about it, to be honest
Never
with
even
you.
thought about it.
Me either.
She was the one thinking about it, okay? So I remember I was in San Diego County. I made a big mistake with a business I was looking at buying in San Diego. This 2007. And these guys down there, I was going down there, I was going to buy the business. I'm going to partner up with this guy because he was going to give me a big leg up, and we were going to do big things. And they were talking about jets, private jets. And I'm like, private jets? Only to find out the guy's going bankrupt. Okay? Steals $9 million from me. That's the first time I had ever heard anything about a damn private jet. Okay? When I took delivery this year, I was like, he's still busted.
Yeah.
How much are those jets, for people wondering?
They're a lot.
Could you give us like a ballpark?
It's on the internet, man. It's a lot of money.
One thing he just said, though, I want to say to you that is an important lesson for me also.
Is Lanny here? Lanny knows how much they are. Lanny's a pilot.
I want to tell you one thing that I think also those of you that are achieving, we talked about fast earlier and not slowing down. When you slow down and when you're successful, when you start letting yourself sit around and thinking, is when you start making all your mistakes. When you let off the accelerator in your business, it's not just letting off the accelerator in your business. You allow all kinds of other distractions and crap to enter your life, and you're doing stupid things here and another dumb thing there. You need to be at full speed, man, because when you're not at full speed and you slow down, there's all this stuff that starts to happen to achievers, because most of us can't sit around and rest, and we just get occupied in crap that doesn't serve us. Investments, activities, endeavors, indulgences, whatever they are, that don't serve you when you let off the accelerator. So keep going fast.
Yeah, it's
pushing.
like you always say, success has a pulse, it has a pace to it.
It has a pace to it. Yeah.
Man, I love that. Now, I gotta ask you guys, what's one piece of advice you wish you would have gotten early on in your career?
Mine is just, I wish I'd have believed in myself more younger. I wish I'd have known what I was capable of younger. To Grant's point, I would have gone bigger sooner. I was lucky that I picked a model that worked. Actually, it picked me. I was lucky. I picked a model that worked for me young, and I wish I would have known what I was capable of sooner, what this was capable of sooner. I think I've always been limited, and still am to this day, by my lack of understanding of what my capacity is. And the more I step into the next space, like, wow, that was easier than I thought. It could have been bigger than that. And so certainly for me, my biggest detriment is me getting in my own way with my lack of belief in myself. Even when you think we're both super self-confident guys now, it's still a limitation of our ability to go to the next place. Is just me understanding what life is capable of being for me. And so for sure, that's my deal. It has been all my life for me.
Yeah, probably, just underestimating the ability, the potential of the spiritual being, me. And unfortunately, because we have so much attention on our physical capacity and limitations, 5'8", I've been a little guy my whole life. Got to feed myself 3 times a day because I'm hungry. I got to urinate, sometimes with my buddy. I gotta sleep 9 hours a day, 8 to 9 hours a day. I'm reminded I'm a body, which has been a deception for me, because that's not what I'm not limited to just that. And so it's been a big trick, thinking, oh, I just got to take care of this. I got to clothe it. I got to protect it. I got to worry about it. The older you get, the more you worry about it. Kids can do almost anything. Kids can jump off they can jump out of a car, roll around on the damn grass and pop up and say, yeah, that was fun, let's do that again. You do that to me, man, I'm like, dang, that hurt, right? So you can see a kid flying down a mountain at 70 miles an hour, man, I'm terrified because I'm gonna break something. So it's that concern about me is something gonna happen to me? If I wouldn't have been concerned about myself, my God, I could have done anything, man. I would have already done it. So that's how that's been a big limitation, what Ed's talking about. The capacity of the individual is, I don't think I've even remotely scratched. Hopefully if I can come back, if anybody believes in that kind of stuff, then I can come back with, oh my God, man, maybe I'm not just 5'8", 170 pounds, little tiny ones.
Got some good guns right now.
Okay. But maybe I can do more than just the physical limitations that I impose on myself.
Looking back on the careers you guys have built, and obviously you guys still have a long way to go, a legacy to build, people to impact, what would you say is your best 60-second piece of wisdom to the world? So we talked about all this different stuff. There's so many things out there to take away, but if somebody watching this right now really wants to start making their life work, they really want to max out, they really want to 10X, what have you guys found is your best piece of advice to people out there, if you could give it to them in 1 minute?
Go ahead, GC.
No, go ahead, man, really. I don't know how to do that, man.
Well,
Who would expect good advice in 60 seconds, first of all? Why have we come down to that? Why are we down to
Instagram.
God
The
damn.
video's gotta be in
Instagram
60
clips.
seconds.
Delivering the content, man, it goes back to it.
What my advice would be, if you're going to start, is that what you're asking me?
Correct. Somebody
Your
who's
best
just,
advice in 60 seconds. God
Yeah.
damn, Ed, it's not that
It's not
complicated.
that complicated. Well, I'm a big believer that you can't exceed your identity. You and I have talked a lot about that in the past. And so I think if you don't begin to, whether it comes from your faith, did something just fall on me?
It's like your fire shoe. It's a dragonfly or something.
Let's start that again.
You know what
Ask the
that means,
question
huh?
again and get us to answer it again.
You know what that means?
Start that again.
So last question,
is-
what would be your best piece of advice? Obviously, there's a lot of stuff out there in the world, but for somebody to start making their life work, I know you had a moment, Grant, where you were, you had the drugs, the alcohol, but there was a switch that changed. Ed, you had a similar moment.
Get
in
one
your
mentor.
business.
Get one mentor. Solve the problem you're having right now. Get in one group that gives back. Stay connected until your life improves. Handle your 24 inches. You can't handle your 24 inches. Don't try to handle your neighbor's problems. Don't criticize me. Criticize yourself. So many people want to give me advice. I'm like, dude, you handle your own life. I got my hands full handling mine. I'm not handling yours. Just handle your 24 inches until you got that handled. Then, could be anything. Could be money. Could be weight. It could be maybe you're cheating. Maybe you're taking shortcuts. You don't wake up sooner. Whatever your problems are. Everybody's got them. I still got my 24 inches. I worry about my 24 inches every day. Okay?
Is that even better?
I handle my 24. That's better, even better. That's not a dragonfly, though.
Oh.
That's a, yeah, praying mantis. Okay? That's even better.
Is it better?
3 Comma Club, for sure. Okay, so landed on me, too. See, when it gets close to you, that doesn't mean shit. When it lands on you,
Oh, shoot.
It means you're the one.
you're the one.
Damn.
Okay. So, dude, get one guy. You guys gotta quit. Every one of you, quit listening to 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 people. It creates confusion, and confusion means you don't do anything. So if you don't, you're better off with one piece of data that's wrong than 10 pieces of data that's right. Do the one thing wrong. I know that I've done stuff that's not supposed to work, but I believed in it so much.
Yep.
It was like, dang, that worked. Okay, so don't do drugs, don't do alcohol. Don't hang around losers. I mean, family could be losers. Just because you were born with them doesn't mean you're obligated to them.
Right.
Okay, I've been a loser. There was parts of my family that should not have been around me during 9 years of my life, from the age of 16 to 25. No one in my family, including my mother, should have spent time with me. I was a risk to her, to myself, to my friends, and to society. Just the way it was. You got to give something up.
Yeah. Makes sense. How about you?
That was
Ed?
really good.
That don't make sense. That makes money.
One, keep the promises you make to yourself. You start keeping the promises you make to you. Forget about everybody else. That's going to build your self-confidence. It's just the foundation of doing anything in your life is you start to keep the promises you make to you. That's number one. Number two, you got to begin to work on you, your identity. You're never going to exceed your, we both said earlier that we're still to this day limited basically by our identity. We're limited by what we think we're capable of, right? We said that now. It was true when we were 18, 22, and at our ages now. And so you've got to do the things that stretch your identity and your worth, whether that be your faith life, your spiritual life, your personal development, self-improvement, reading, listening, all that stuff. You expand your identity, you'll never exceed your identity, okay? You're going to be your habits and rituals. You better get a habit and a routine and rituals that serve you, because if you show me what you're going to do, because here's why, under pressure, you'll always go back to your habit. So you've got to have habits, rituals, and routines that serve you. The next thing is this. You better think about something huge that you want to do with your life, that grips your heart, that makes you want to get out of bed every single morning, that's massive. And it should be right now, whatever just occurred to you, it's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. And make it big, because that's going to be the compelling vision of your life. It's going to get you moving. Okay, that's at least for me, a massive, significant part of my life. And that is, and then lastly is, don't listen to people that are going to tell you that you can't do it. Don't listen to haters, don't listen to naysayers, don't listen to people that give you advice that tell you to slow down or you shouldn't do it or you can't do it or the time's not right or any of those other things. Those are dream stealers. They were sent to you to see if you'll overcome them. They were sent to you to test your resiliency. And if you can overcome that, if you just discard all of that stuff and you get clear on those other things, you've got a really good chance of doing something great with your life. And just remember what you were put here to do. You're not a mistake. You're not here by an accident. You were born to do something great with your life. You were born to make a difference with your life. This is a fact. Every one of us was put here to do something special, and that special thing is to help one another in some way, shape, or form. And if you can just remember that and negotiate the price in advance, decide now that your will to win cannot be bought by any failure or any success, and now you've got a chance to do something special with your life. And once you've made that decision, just get ready, because here comes all the adversity. Just get ready. Here comes all the setbacks, all the failures, all the rejection. It's part of it. So just like when it's happening to you, you shouldn't be going, oh my God, that's a sign it's not for me, or I should shift, or maybe I can only take so much, or I'm the guy who should I go into something I'm not cut out for. Just get ready. Adversity, setbacks, rejection, certain things you'll reach and they weren't as good as you thought when you'd get there, right? There's all kinds of stuff that happens when you get there. Like, I thought it'd be better than this, right? All of it's there. It's all part of the journey. It's all part of the path. Just accept that and do something great with your life, and stop acting like you don't know. Stop acting like you can't get it done, like you're one key away, one mentor away, one this away. You know what you're away? You're one belief and one activity away. You're one new recruit in your business from changing your life. You're one new client, one breakthrough, one distinction that you make away from doing something great. Get totally immersed in it. Like I talked about earlier with my dad's cancer, get totally immersed, stay focused in that area. Don't look at 50 different things, and decide that's what you're going to do with your life, and now you got a chance to do something.
It's powerful, man. All right, so at the end of the interview, we always play the game First Things First. I know it was a hit both with you, Grant, and Elena last time we played it. You remember this, Grant?
No.
I'm gonna
I don't either. I don't either.
I'm gonna rifle off 10 words or phrases. You tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind. So it's just an
Now I
association
remember it.
type game.
Now I remember it.
All right. So first I'm gonna play with Grant, and I'm gonna play with you, and then you guys are gonna play together.
Okay.
All right. So the only rule is you can't repeat yourself twice. Got it?
Okay.
Okay. Cool. So first word, money.
Freedom.
Elena.
Freedom.
You repeated yourself twice.
Oh, I can't? Okay.
Yeah.
She is freedom for me, though. Big thing.
Rejection.
Rejection. Man, it's a one word or something?
What word or phrase?
Yeah, I just miscalculated.
10x growth con.
Tough.
Real estate.
The kind of real estate I do, indestructible.
Ed Mylett.
Good dude.
Social media.
Gift.
Captain Ryan.
Good. Really, really solid dude.
Your legacy.
Like somebody I really super admire.
Your legacy.
My legacy will be the people I helped.
And last one, you ready?
I hope so.
Your daughters.
Oh my God, man, just, unbelievable. Just phenomenal. Phenomenal reminder of potential and possibility and, unbelievable.
Love that. I never seen you that almost speechless, man. That's awesome. All right, Ed, you ready?
Yeah.
Max out.
My life.
Failure.
Inevitable.
Money.
Freedom.
Service.
I'll give you what my first answer was. My duty.
Tough times.
Whew. My my water being turned off.
Mentors.
There's my answer. Did you break the glass?
Yeah.
Important.
Investing.
Careful.
Grant Cardone.
Relentless.
The Arte Syndicate.
The what? I didn't hear this.
Arte Syndicate.
My legacy.
And last one, you ready?
Yeah.
Your story.
Unfolding.
Powerful. Now it's time for you guys to turn the tables on each other. So now you guys are going to play together. You guys are going to rifle off 10 words or phrases to each other. Grant will respond, and then Ed will respond, and that's it.
So I ask him a word and he responds?
Yeah.
Any word?
And then vice versa. Yeah. Any 10 words. Any 10
Wow.
words, yeah.
Okay.
So you rifle it off. So just you can count on your fingers or however you want to count.
Oh, we'll probably miss 10.
That's fine. Let it flow.
Obsession.
Necessary.
Does he ask me or do I ask him?
No, you do your 10 first,
Oh,
and then
okay.
he'll do his 10
There's
after.
rules here.
Okay. Death.
Impossible.
Peace.
Peace. Mystery.
Dad.
Work ethic.
Money.
Freedom. I used it earlier, but yeah.
You're 0 for 3 on that. Okay. I want to ask him the ones I really want to ask. So, your body.
My body. Just an engine. Vehicle, just something.
Health.
Important.
Your legacy.
Questionable.
Trust.
Verify.
Integrity.
Vital. and personal.
I think that was 10.
He's a good counter.
Grant, your turn.
Okay.
Shoot.
You ready, man?
No.
Here we go. Pressure's on.
A real friend.
Truth.
Honesty.
Everything.
Sales.
Money.
Money. Okay, money.
Freedom.
Sex.
Love it.
Flying private.
I was going to say freedom again. The baddest ass thing I've done with money.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's the baddest ass thing I've done with money.
Yeah.
Way better than a house.
Yeah.
Way better than anything.
Challenges.
Passion.
Death.
Heaven.
What am I at right now?
I don't know.
Okay, one more, huh? Oh, two more. Time.
Illusion.
Uh-huh. Oh, I like that. And one more for Ed Mylett. Next chapter.
Now.
Love it. That's a wrap.
If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because every week we bring you the very best in personal development content, interviews, and insight to help inspire you to take your life and your dreams and make them a reality. And also, if you want to know how to book dream guests the same way I have, you can check the link below for my top 3 secrets. So if you have a podcast or a show or whatever it is and you want to collaborate with them, if you click that link below, I'll give you those top 3 secrets to help you get in touch with anybody. And also, don't forget that The Passionate Few is available on media platforms as well. So you can subscribe to the podcast. And until next time, thank you for being one of the Passionate Few.